It's already Sunday. It's already time for another weekly stream. Talk about what's going on right now in a lot of manga chapters. Anything that might have transpired in the news within these communities, or anything that you guys might just want to talk about. And just go ahead and ask. It's as always said, a more community discussion. It's like an hour and a half, usually just hanging out, chatting, just having an all right time. Get just time going back and forth and having a little bit of banter between myself and anybody who decides to join in. So once let me put up some links, and then we'll be ready to start things up. Got any questions you want to ask? Go on ahead. And just go on and hopefully have a good day, because that's obviously the most vital thing that happened. Hopefully my keyboard isn't too loud. It's almost done. Anyway, so what's anything new with you guys this week as we get started? Anything to really discuss, or just to kind of like bring normal attention? Maybe something you noticed in a chapter that I might have missed, or anybody could have potentially missed. What's going on there? And other than that, though, it could be just a chill time to come hang out. It's always just a delight to have a conversation, whether it be too long or too short. Let's just see how it goes, though, and whoever wants to ask questions. As I said, what's up, Jared Punch? How are you, JK Network? How you guys doing? I am. Oh, Yori. She say, "What's up? You might be a new subscriber. I don't think I've seen you in the streams before. As said, I do these every week. What's up, Sheridan Kane, Vaughn? How are you guys this week? How's everything going? Oh my God, Spider even. What are you doing in here? Yeah, well, what's up with you guys all this week? Just trying to get things going. Try and get a discussion going on some of the chapters. Might have one of my friends on to come hang out, chit chat." But, as begun, though, we got to talk about what went on in the week. How did things just kind of like what is this? Madame Kurenai seems to have a brutal sense of justice with her rape resident. Oh, the Scarlet Woman from Eden Zero. Yeah, I think that's a very kind of fun thing to tell in that planet. You're going to kind of get this like, oh, look, everything is good. There's no crime. It's very peaceful. Everyone's prosperous. But it's going to be showing, like, something that has to, go forth in order to have that. Like, similar to we saw with those satellite blades, that the Scarlet Woman will just pretty much vaporize people that cause, break laws on her planet. That's how you're going to keep all those things down. Eradicate anybody who breaks the rules so they can't continue. Pretty vicious, very vicious style. The picture reminds me of the recent episode of Urza's latest Arsenal. It wasn't an ass pull. So, if you don't know how her armor works, like, the cloth, the fire pants, and her sword, was it Benizakura or Yoto Benizakura? I think it's like Crimson Cherry sword. But it literally just funnels power from her other stats and her attack and speed. A meteor is literally just a big rock moving at high speed. And obviously make it, kinetic energy, mass moving at a certain speed, to figure out that kind of like impact. So as long as you out energy the meteor's not going to do shit. And that was her all-out moment against an attack that Eileen just was like, yeah, whatever. Just drop a meteor on him. And she even said, like, the meteor can't do shit to her scales, because beating the meteor doesn't mean she's going to be able to cut her. So it's just like, it was more of a show of power. Urza, again, like, all-out, matching a pretty normal attack from Eileen was fine. Not a big deal. That's a moment I'm going to go more into depth in the future. There's a couple events that I think that are pretty notorious within the franchise that I think aren't big deals, and there's some stuff that I think are much more like egregious that other people probably just kind of gloss over. Well, we'll get to that at some point. But for now, get to this stream itself. Get to the conversation. Zoro versus Urza death battle. That's not a fight. Zoro can't compete. Urza's so much more impressive. She can fight with hundreds of swords. She's got way more battle experience. She's beat way more impressive opponents. She's done more impressive things. I mean, like, when her, like, as she was back in Edelus, the two Urzas clashing, like, destroyed a small island. She cut a fucking meteor. And then she had none of her five senses and was still fighting just on pure, like, instinct. I mean, Zoro's done some impressive things, but he's not as impressive as Urza. And she's also just straight up more powerful. I mean, really, what the living shit is Zoro gonna do? I mean, she can, like, once she breaks his swords, that's it. There wouldn't be a fight for him and anything beyond that. Though it's funny when Draken Joe talks to her, he knows her, she's no saint, and other people think she is. Oh yeah, the thing about Draken Joe that I think is going to be really interesting, his personality in one, but also his connections, like the amount of people he's going to know, like because of like his influence, how much money he's probably got. I guess that kind of almost goes hand in hand, but he's he's probably close enough, at least in speaking terms, like with like every big shot in the cosmos. So when we find out exactly like his entire reach, it's not going to be surprising. Like if it names like all these characters, we find out those characters are all big deals. Because so far we've got the leader of the Shooting Starlight Guild and the Scarlet Woman, the leader of this high resource like rich people planet, and they're both like seemingly very close to Draken Joe. He knows like how to talk to people. I think his kind of like deal for business is obviously very highly like reputable, and we know that his reputation is pretty much like his whole being. So damaging his name, you might as well just be like stabbing him in the soul. And he's probably owned that. I mean, like he's definitely gonna have a honed down personality like that in order to make business with all these higher ups. It's just kind of coming with the territory that he's gotta have something like that. I don't know, it just seems very interesting for him. Crazy how Marileona defeated Vito and still has enough power to keep fighting, and people doubt she's the strongest magic captain. Well, she's definitely the strongest, but that was that Vito. I mean, yeah, he was strong, but like Raya's stronger, and that was pre full power Vito. But still, her one-on-one, the fact that she can burn magic and she's clearly very durable. She's got high agility, high movement speed. She's gonna be dangerous, especially the casters. And Vito is kind of like that, like mid-range to close combat. Like he clearly made in close combat, but he definitely had skill for other properties. Just the two of them clashing. I knew she was gonna win, but it, it's gonna be so interesting, rather actually, to see Vito after this arc and see like what he's gonna say about Marileona, because she is like a very similar game to him, similar style of combat. And she whooped his ass, so he's probably gonna have maybe some complex. Maybe he's gonna want to train under her. Maybe he's gonna have a thing for her. That's the perfect combo right there, Marileona and Vito. So we'll see how that goes. That's one of the like more intriguing small aspects on the side of this arc that I find, because when you look at like specific character interactions, it's going to evolve into something later. There might be a plot point to that later. There could be something that it's being set up now so that at a time of being appropriate we can get it. Again, Vito and Marileona, like they seem to go pretty hand in hand. And now Vito, who's this kind of like frail elf in personality back in his past, became this kind of like big jacked fucking mountain man badass looking dude, and he got his ass kicked by another like crazy mountain person like Marileona, who just lives in the wilderness. So I'm very intrigued by what that kind of character direction is going to go, because it's one I think that like that's like one of those ones where you would take characters that don't have interaction with each other and you fanfic them, just kind of like the idea, and then it finally comes true, and then it's just going down that plot line. It does seem like with Marileona and Vito that their characters just be like, these two could very much mesh, but one is dead, so let's write fan fiction about him, and then shenanigans, and now that he's back, and now that can finally happen, and that it is going potentially down that line. We will see. Let's see. Missed opportunity to have Irene, Aknologi, and Dragonform facing off. Well, Aknologi would definitely win, because even though that Eileen is a royal class dragon, similar to Igneel. Igneel was a fire dragon king, and I keep almost saying Irene, but I think the canon is Eileen anyway. Her also being a royal class dragon, but Aknologi is a man of his own kind of like status. And that like now Dragon God is like a rank, and even though Aknologi called himself the King of Dragons, he still would kind of fit into that category because the other five are as strong as he is. At least his normal self, not the space between time like Aknologi, who's definitely beyond anybody within the series except for probably Bar Ankh Saram, if he ever fucking shows his face. We will see. It's obviously a mystery that we could get to at some point down the line. I think Zoro's a better character though. I don't really care for Zoro. I mean, Urza and Zoro both have that kind of like, they both, I'm the badass swordsman character, I'm pretty cool. But Zoro's kind of like off thing about that is like, He sometimes has like comedy moments with Sanji, but that's like about it. I find Urza's kind of like the fact that she's just this. She's a very highly experienced, skilled fighter. You know, years and years of battle. She's absurdly confident. You know, she's very. She's got a lot of honor, kind of character. And then like second Jalal walks in, she just kind of like becomes this like very frail, emotional like teenage girl, and I just think that's a really much more interesting kind of like way for her character to exist. Again, it's not the shipping aspect; it's the vulnerability of it. Like the idea, like you have this a super powerful character like her, very very majestic, you know, very very hardened and you know very just strong both physically and emotionally. And then you have this one character if he's brought into the mix of things like you see the the more human side, the frailty of said character. With Zoro, we don't have anything like that. Like we get some comedy moments, but he's just a badass. It's like Zebra from if you've ever read Toriko, there's a character called Zebra. His whole thing is he's a super badass. He does a lot of things indirectly, but like there isn't a whole lot to his character outside of being a badass. And that's kind of like where Zoro is for me right now. I just don't really care. It's not like I think I like about Brook is comedic, but then like it's like the serious Brook, and he's like the dude just get shit done. He's skilled. He's like quick witted. He's able to like mess with people's heads a little bit. With Zoro, just not too interested. I don't find his character arc that cool. I mean, it's literally just like I just want to fight all the bad guys, or not bad guys. I want to fight all the strongest swordsmen until I'm the strongest swordsman. It's like okay. I mean, that's just an action kind of like set of goals. I mean, obviously, yeah, you're going to want action and sword battles, but when you're getting that, but plus like a deeper kind of emotional aspect for a character, but also playing on this, like I said, like even a character, if they're very strong, it doesn't mean they don't have human emotions. And that's again what I think about Earth. That's one of the things I really like about her. You could literally just like have the entire country like come together and then be like, see Urza break the meteor, and then maybe they're like, "You're really amazing," and she's like, "Oh, I'm nothing," like that, and then like Jalal like literally she just sees him in the crowd, and then she just breaks. And that's just again like what I think is very interesting about her. I mean, other than that, and she's like bad at acting. I mean, that's more of a comedic one, but she tries really hard. That's more the comedic side of nervousness, but not like the same thing with Jalal. That's what I find very interesting about her character personally. Ignia Dragon Force Natsu versus Acnologia Space Between Time Eating. I'd still put my money in Acnologia because Acnologia does have the ability to eat magic. I think that he could go toe to toe with any. So he could beat any of the Dragon Gods, I think, 1v1. But obviously, the danger is two of them team up, and I think he'd kind of be fucked. Because he's got resistances to magic. It's similar to like the characters, they got resistances to whatever their attribute or element is. It's not full on immunity, it's just high resistance. We saw that back when it was believed to be immunity, back when like Natsu like was early in the series, but we saw like, a God Slayer's fire. Okay, it's a high level of resistance. The same thing with Acnologia, his is still magic. If he can eat it, it's pretty much nothing. But if he's able to just backside him, hit him, it's strong enough, it's gonna damage him. Kind of that thing. But obviously them teaming up is going to be too much for him. Natsu kind of has like not the same area as Acnologia in this matter because his power was he was strong enough to beat a dragon god, but it was like a deranged, not in control one. He didn't have his wits. He was literally just a big rampaging monster. And I think that the next one will probably get much more of a further battle, even if he has the same power up, because maybe they're smarter. There's obviously a gap between like a character who's just a rampaging fucking smash everything around, no strategy, versus a character who's planning, has experience, has an idea of their powers. Because like it was cool, it was a pretty intense fight. But you got to keep that in mind. He was at max power. Like okay, Natsu can compete in power, but it doesn't mean that he's going to be able to compete in like strategy, wits. A character maybe setting something up that they're going to drop on him. And like Dragon Gods, I feel like a lot of them are going to have special like trap moves, given the fact that they were on the run from Acnologia for so long. They have to have something like a hacks, because every single attribute seems to have some form of buff. Like fire, Dragon Fire can burn magic. Wind has buffs and status effects, as well as obviously eating air is pretty OP. Just breathe heavily. Shadow Dragon has intangibility. I mean, the water had kind of intangibility, but not the same thing. But yeah, that's just kind of where I'm sitting now. I think that Acnologia would still win 1v1, at least at the moment. I mean, this is like Dragon Force. I just call it Aetherius Dragon Force, as Natsu had. I feel like this is just a lower level, like, and he was able to do that much. So him fully power up will probably be beyond at least normal Acnologia. Maybe not Space Between Time Acnologia, but you know. Okay, let me scroll up. I don't wanna miss any comments. You know, I gotta keep trying to go in order. It's very important. Chit chat. Okay, I wasn't very far. You think Crimson Woman can fight? Because if so, I can see her fighting Valkyrie. I think she's gonna be more of like a sit back and like strategize. Like maybe if like you were in, because like you could imagine like a fight with her. You're in a room with her, but maybe everything like in the room is a weapon. So it's literally just like, oh, she's gonna be easy to beat if I can land a hit, and then, you know, that if is super bolded out, underlined, and big. And you just spend this time trying to get close, but no dice, just dangerous. You can imagine like, okay, we're gonna go and fight her, but like she made that like circle around those guys, and then, you know, lasered them. Like, what if she made a ring? So it was just like anything that tried to enter her zone gets vaped. You know, that's very interesting. She could do something like that, and, you know, keep herself powerful without being a fighter, because she's obviously very influential for her rank and like status. You know, just an idea. Do you think the Guildmaster in Eden Zero will have a Hades level threat, where it takes a lot of people to defeat him? Potentially, because like right now the difference between the guilds, I guess, like with Eden Zero, it's much more like a business. You don't need to. I mean, it's a little bit like that in Fairy Tail, but you don't need to be a fighter, I imagine, in Eden Zero, because it's literally you're just on a big business city. You don't go out, you don't need to do anything, you just have to do work. And obviously it's a shonen manga, battle manga, especially like he could still like be in that position and somehow be powerful. We don't know, but I just think that it's like a difference, because like guilds don't, well, they don't fight. It became illegal within the Fairy Tail world, but it still was at a time, and you could do. You could still have him be strong, but I just feel like the fact that he wouldn't have, there's like no competition. Like, he would never have to fight unless somebody like decided randomly to fight him. He could still be a threat. I don't know if he'll be on the same level as Hades, because Hades was the first like big boss character in Fairy Tail, like big boss, because it was like, okay, Laxus is bossy, strong. Jalal, Faust was kind of getting a little bit there, but it was like just them. It took the entire crew to fight Hades, plus help from Laxus to show up, some aid from Ultir. There was a lot more kind of like in this, and they just felt also the fact that like if they didn't destroy his heart, then he just would have won. So like he still was gonna get stronger, and that really, I think, hammered in his level of influence. There's a similar fight in Rave Master. Not like, it's not, I would say similar in like the level of weight, and that's why I think we're gonna get one in Eden Zero, because you had kind of like that in Rave Master. You had the whole crew, the whole main cast against Doryu, and with Fairy Tail you had the whole main cast against Hades. The backstories for the characters were very different. They had different goals. They had different kind of like powers and fighting styles. But it just that kind of like, this is a raid boss. This is a big enemy. We can't just, oh yeah, I tried really hard. You know, we had a good main character moment and won. This is a group effort. This is a raw group effort, and it's not like some complex thing. Hey, we got to destroy all of these crystals. You know, the crystals, little Lacrima at once in Nirvana to pretty much break it down. It was, no, we need to beat this dude. We have to figure something the fuck out. Just make it extra vicious. That's the thing, though. I feel like it'll happen. I don't know if it'll be this guy. It might be Draken Joe. We don't know. And whoever it could be is just going to sit in that same kind of like area with Doryu and Hades, which, again, awesome fights. I mean, Mark Gear was kind of like this big battle, but it was more of like the duo. And Mark Gear, I'd say, is stronger than Hades, but I think Hades has a much more like severe feeling to the fight, just because of the level of the cast that's putting an effort against him. And we got the little bit, I would say we got it in with Mercephobia, except his was like a much bigger one. but at the same time, it wasn't as like dark feeling. Like it was way deep into an arc with Hades, and then like shit was getting worse and worse for him, and then they were in this position finally against their leader, and it would just seem like that like spooky boss versus like a wild energy boss with Mercephobia. It's just kind of how I feel about that. But anyway, let me keep going. I have an idea for Tenka's ultimate form in conjunction with Battle Neon. Well, you should draw it out and post it on Twitter at some point. Here's a theory. A Sekri sealed the demonic essence from Licht into the grimoire Asta eventually got. Well, yeah, but wouldn't she have a comment about it? Like, she should say something. I mean, it's possible, like, her sealing ability, like, maybe she's like, I don't want him to get a grimoire again. Put anti-magic in it or something, put the demon in it. I don't know. I just have this kind of, like, weird idea that once he forced himself to become a demon, because maybe forcing yourself to a demon is different than just straight up, like, oh, Dark Elf, or, depravity hybrid kind of thing. That, there has to be something different when a user just becomes a demon. And maybe that's why the grimoire became what it is. There's so many mysteries. There's so many questions to kind of just like ponder around, and who knows with Tabata. He seems to kind of like take it in an idea you could kind of get your head around, but it's like he twists it in a different direction. Same idea, just different kind of like way to take it. Versus someone like Fujimoto and Chainsaw Man, who is just fucking. It's so hard to like keep an idea of what that dude is planning because he's so strange. Reptar's tails way back and forth when they fell in love. What? I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? Disney era Power Rangers except for Operation Overdrive. Wait, I want to skip one. You think Joe Also's connection with the Star Alliance if he gets arrested and then released by someone he paid off? Potentially. That one I think is kind of like still existent, but maybe not, because like we don't know the severity of the Star Federation Army. Oh my God, I think it's there was the acronym in the official translation, and I forgot what it was. Either way, you know who I'm talking about. You know those guys. Which type of fire do you think is stronger, Hellfire or the Sun? Well, I always assumed that the Sun, just if you kind of compare the two, just Starfire, okay, really hot, but like Hellfire is like a specific kind of like special power, kind of like what is Ghost Riders? Like it does more, like depending on your sins or something, something like that, where it's more of like a hacks like special kind of fire. The two different categories is what I'd say. Which is your favorite Power Ranger season? Mine is Lost Galaxy. Lost Galaxy is still my favorite. Leo is still my favorite Red Ranger. The Magna Defender is still my favorite 6th Ranger. Trakina is one of my favorite villains, for sure. I definitely will always have Lost Galaxy. Plus, Lost Galaxy had the first, good crossover. Because, To the 10th Power felt like the first, real one, in my opinion. Because everything before that, it was much more of, a conjoined universe. Or, I guess, conjoined timeline. Whereas, everything after that, the way that the crossover episodes work now, it's like a cameo versus they could show up at any point for the episodes. They're literally we're next door neighbors or some shit. To the 10th Power, plus they fought the Cycle Rangers. The Cycle Rangers are so fucking cool. And then it followed after that was another season I really liked was Lightspeed Rescue, and we got to see Trakina mess around with the demons. I thought that was all just really cool. Trakina's Revenge. Definitely. It's always gonna be Lost Galaxy. I just enjoy that one so much. Plus, it was the only one that took place off Earth. It had nothing to do with any of the previous plots. I mean, they were just like, hey, we're gonna go find a new planet. We're gonna explore space in Terraventure. It was so different. And plus, you saw them, they had to get their weapons, they had to get their trans daggers, and then after the trans daggers, they had to get, they had to get their, actually, I think they got the Galacta Beasts, and then they got the trans daggers, and so, before that, they were just riding them, and then they could turn them into Zords, and then they could, are they still Zords? I don't think so. I don't think I think they're technically Zords, and then they get their Megazord, and then they get a buffed Megazord with the Lights of Orion buff. I just thought it's such a cooler transition, because, you look at, okay, episode 1 Power Rangers, you can't really compare it, because it's an episode 1. You're trying to pile as much things on at once as you can without it with you, the people watching to kind of get an idea, but not be overwhelmed. Okay, you got the suits. Actually, I think did they get the Megazord in episode 2? I'm trying to remember because they had the tank at the start. But you know what I mean. You're gonna find out about the villain. You're gonna find out about the powers and weapons. It was a much longer process through Lost Galaxy of UK get the suits. Actually, no, they didn't get the suits in the first episode. They just got the Quasar sabers, I believe. They might have morphed in that first episode, but I think they just got the fucking oh my god, I just said it, Quasar sabers. And then like it was a much longer process of getting all the good stuff, and then you got like the battleizer for the Red Ranger, and fucking Leo got that sick. Remember that like his motorcycle turned into like, it's kind of like if you've seen those Raptor cars where it's like fucking one or two chairs in it, and it's got 3 wheels, and it's just like it's like an enclosed motorcycle, and that's like what I always like thought about Leo's sick. I don't remember what it was called, but it closed, so it was literally like a wheeled capsule for just one person. I thought that was so cool as a kid. But yeah, Lost Galaxy will always be my favorite Power Rangers season. And the comic books are really good too, but like it was like actually no, I don't have any complaints because the Solar Ranger suits were so cool. That's probably my favorite suit design. Like those were so cool. Those were fucking, oh my god. I'm just reminiscing now. God damn it. Anyway, where was I? God, you got me distracted. Operation Overdrive had some good episodes, though. I think that was one of the weakest seasons. Turbo, I think, is the weakest season for sure. That's definitely the lowest. But like, fucking Operation Overdrive had some good stuff. Like the Black Ranger, he was like, I don't actually want to do this. He doesn't like it, and then turned around by the end of the episode. He didn't want to be friends with everybody else. You had like the stuff. Oh my god, what was the main character's name? Oh my god, I'm gonna remember at some point. But anyway, he turned out to be a fucking android, and he was like super fucking weird about it because it was a really weird twist to do for your Red Ranger, and then it was like he was like aggro as fuck about it. They'd get in a mission and they'd be like, "What are you doing? It's so dangerous." And he's like, "I don't care. I'm a robot. I'm expendable." I was like, "What the? This dude?" They made the main character suicidal, like a borderlines, like the heroic suicide, always trying to sacrifice yourself. It was so strange. It was so weird to do. There are a lot of aspects of that I liked, for sure. And then, I mean, the villains, I think, had a really cool idea, but I think that was kind of fucked up. You got to have like the villains be a pair and their competing brothers, which was really cool. But like, I think it was one of the weakest endings. But also the plot, I like the plot a lot too. Actually, the idea of it. Oh, the bad guys are pretty much, they're like treasure hunters, and the bad guys are looking for these gems to put on this crown to pretty much give them full control over the entire universe, which at the time was like the biggest like power level thing in Power Rangers. So it was a weird thing to really kind of like wrap your head around. It was weird. It felt like it's still the same kind of Power Rangers like idea. It's in the same universe, same world, but it's like not related to anything else at all. And their own thing. It'd be like, oh, the X-Men. It's like, and then there's like 3 mutants that are using their powers to like run a fish market down in like somewhere. Like there's nothing to do with it. It's just completely off the grid. No Power Rangers joke intended. Just the way that kind of worked. So how you don't like Arlen Parker and he's like, oh, I did like those. If you're talking to me, Strammer, I did like those. It's some of the current arcs I don't like. Like I thought Ennie's Lobby and Arlen Park, they're enjoyable. Oh wait, no, Ennie's Lobby is fucking that's the CP9 arc, right? I believe. But well, it's like the saga because there's like 2 different parts that lead up into it. But fucking I liked Arlong Park. It's kind of like it's recent One Piece. I'm not a huge fan of. I didn't like Dressrosa. I didn't like Whole Cake Island. I'm kind of like, with Wano, there are some good parts, but for the majority of it, I haven't found it too entertaining. Arlong Park was cool. I like that. I thought Arlong was kind of stupid. Because, like, him and Luffy, it's a complete counter, because,
oh, Arlong can fight him, but he's twice as strong underwater. Luffy can't. Luffy's stronger than him, like on land, or at least around that. But he can't fight in the water. So I don't know why Arlong had any idea to fight him other than drag him underwater. You're more powerful, and he can't fight. There might have been a reason. I'd have to go back and look. I haven't read the Arlong arc in fucking years, so I wouldn't know anything off the top of my head for sure. I liked Enies Lobby. I thought that arc was good. It was weird, like Oda was trying to introduce power levels. I think that he stopped doing Ashura because like the Ashura for Zoro just like has no. It has like no sense to it. It's not like Sanji's where Sanji pretty much gets a power, but it's like, oh no, he spins. It's just built up friction on his leg, which I feel like his skin should just be gone. But whatever. And it's not. It's somewhat of a description. It's plausible enough without thinking too into it that it's fine. Zoro's I just think didn't make any fucking sense. Actually, one thing that I am salty about that it's not really like it's not like a real salt. It's like. Because Monster Point was so cool. I thought Monster Point Chopper was badass. I think he should be like in raw strength the strongest of the Straw Hat crew, but I don't like him ever gaining control over Monster Point. One, it took away the cool look. Because it was so cool he had this like big fucking like weird reindeer. He's got all that like shaggy matted fur. He's got shadowed around his entire like upper body, not like upper body, his shoulders and face, and you have those glowing eyes, and he could be like their Hulk. It's like, oh, he's a big deal, but we can't control him, and just there's always that kind of like super trump card you can have. That's one of the things I do like. An idea, but then like, oh, I've got control over it, and I look like a fucking Disney character. It's like you took away the best part of Chopper's whole character. That was the coolest part about him. I guess that's the only thing that would make me salty, because they had that cool thing introduced, and then time skip, they just fucking ruined it. That'll forever bum me out for real, just because I thought that was a really cool aspect about Chopper. He's like a fucking doctor, and then like he's their healer, but also their biggest weapon. I thought that could have been cooler. Could have been cooler. The Jared Punch, not my favorite season. Oh, I guess not about Power Rangers stuff. Fuck, I got so far behind while I was ranting. God damn it. Hold on. I don't want to lose my fucking place. Hold on. God damn it. Why you do this to me? God damn it. Here we go. Okay. What if Weapon Wise is making ends up being something to take down Scarlet's weapon? Maybe it could be like a long range jammer, because like maybe like a fucking targeted one, where it's like it looks like a cannon, but it just fires like some shit ass. Because they have Hermit. Hermit's a super hacker. She could easily, I guess she's super programmer really, and that hacking probably all kind of part of that. That could be like their big thing. It's like, oh yeah, it's fucking, we could point at it, turn off something. And they'd probably be pretty dangerous, but still, it's very plausible with that. You think my Spider Mirror is going to have a temporary team up with Shiki and the rest to take down Drac and Joe, or do you see her fighting both sides? I think she's going to be independent. I think I don't see her Shiki really teaming up with her, because like she pretty she betrayed them. She has this kind of like fakeness to her, and almost ruined the friendship between him and Homura. So he might not like her. He probably doesn't know too much about her, unless, did we get a panel at all about Homura, like, saying anything about her? Maybe, like, we didn't fucking, like, I just imagine, like, she didn't say anything, so they have no idea who that was, like, the rest of the team. She's like, I don't know, I didn't think it was important. This guy from, the Galactic, Galactic Investigation, fucking, oh my god. Never mind. I'm gonna stop wording right now. I had the word and then I forgot about whatever, or I guess association, or fucking not committee or some bullshit. Anyway, I'm getting real flustered. I messed it up really bad, but I feel like she will play a part in her own kind of like how Ultir was, like Ultir building up. Like she looked like she was like, oh, Jalal's group. In reality, she was with Grimoire Heart, a whole different faction, like working a different side. Which would be pretty cool. Give their whole layout and crew some form of credence. Oh yeah, it was some Power Rangers. I don't think Mark Gear is stronger than Grimoire Heart 80s. Yeah, he's got fucking Memento Mori, and he was staving off. The thing is, the Celestial Spirit King was he destroyed their island in one strike. He fucking made this giant slash that dwarfed mountains and went all the way to the horizon. And Margear in base with one hand was toying with him. And we already know Margear, both hands, is much more powerful, and then his Aetherius form is far beyond what he had originally. So it's like there's too many things making Margear more impressive. Like he's got more impressive feats of speed. He's got more impressive feats of durability. Like Natsu was fucking going all out with Lightning Flame Dragon, direct Lightning Flame Dragon Firing Hammer did nothing. It hit Margear, didn't damage him, and he's got a better hacks. It looked like Hades was in the same stance for the Zeref when he used Repent, so it looked like he might have this instant death spell. Maybe, potentially. It wasn't fully shown, but, I think it was very easily implied. He obviously did Nemesis, but, like, we only saw, like, the mass fodder version of it. Whereas, like, Margear's got better hacks, too. I mean, really, he's got fucking Memento Mori. The thing that literally erases, like, the concept of life and death on you and kills you. It doesn't even kill you, it just erases you. That's more, like, you hit... And it paralyzes, so it's not like... Oh shit, he's using it, I better get out of the way. You get hit within its zone and you're done. The only reason that Natsu and Gray survived this because Gray has Devil Slaying, which counters counters curses and does extra damage to demons in Fairy Tail. So it just kind of gives him this extra layer of like impressiveness on top of everything else. I think Hades probably had a bigger arsenal. Margear had a couple. He had like the Thorn's Curse. He had Memento Mori. He had like Telepathy. Hades just seemed, in terms of an arsenal, I think he had a bigger arsenal. I think Margear is more powerful. That's just kind of what I saw. Like, we saw both their displays. Margear just... He seems to have a smaller threat level because he really only fights Natsu and Gray. I mean, he fought, obviously, Sting and Rogue, and then Natsu, Sting, and Rogue. But, like, the fight... He wasn't really doing anything until he fought with Natsu and Gray. But this was Natsu and Gray Tartarus, where it was... Natsu and the crew in Sirius Island, which is going to have a completely different level of power. We saw how much stronger they became. Like, fucking Max was on level with Natsu, and they got much more powerful in the Grand Magic Games to where they would literally be able to trash their former self. Like, it literally... They got so strong that somebody who is around the same strength as them, previously at the level they were in Sirius on, and they could trash them. Maybe not like 5 of them, but still like wreck them. So it makes them both. I think the quality of Natsu and Gray Tartarus is much more than Natsu and the crew that were fighting Hades in Sirius Island. Maybe not Laxus, but the rest of the group, because Urza is strong, but she's not Laxus powerful. Come on. Yeah, so there's my comments on that. What would you want the first arc outside of the Soccer Cosmos to be about? I want like a space. I want some like space Moby Dick stuff. I want there to be like, hey, there's a huge bounty on information of maybe a sea whale, like a space whale or something. And so maybe there's like a bunch of characters, kind of like, you just imagine kind of like a bunch of fishermen at sea, and they're like all out. They're within vicinity of each other, and they're just talking, through like radios and shit. And just like that kind of like idea that you're on a ship. There's like, you might be by yourself. There might be 2 other people, but like you just have, hundreds of people around you. It's very cool. It's a cool idea to kind of give there. I think it would also give a lot, maybe some character stuff, but maybe like very quick interactions, like an introduction of a ton of characters that we could get, and then find out which ones resonated the most. Could you imagine like, we've had 5 chapters, we've had like 12 different characters in this, and then you find out which is the best ones out of those, which ones work the best, and then work them in. It's like a tryouts, I think, too, would be really cool. It's an interesting idea, personally. I think would it be something like that, where it's not like a traditional, we gotta stop the bad guys, we gotta do these things. It's like, no, we're gonna go hunt a monster in the sea. Maybe it turns out the monster is good, and the guys hiring are bad. But it's just kind of like the idea, the character interactions in it, and it would just be a very different feeling arc. A hunt for a big space creature. It'd just be fun. I think it'd be a very fun thing. Do you think Cyborg Levi is gonna wait? Hang on. Still think Cyborg Levi is gonna be a thing, Rex? I do. I still want Cyborg Levi, and what I'm talking about is an Attack on Titan because Levi got all fucked up. That he's gonna get cybernetics, and maybe not like Cyborg fucking DC character, kind of like he's got fucking just normal metal hands. He's got actually no he not like he didn't lose his whole hands. Maybe some fingers or some shit. Or maybe he's gonna have prosthetics of the blades. And like he's got 3D gear maneuvering like built into him, and he's just fucking flying around. It makes him much more dangerous. Just makes him fucking a living weapon. I don't know. I think it'd be cool. I think it would be pretty interesting. Just something for Levi to give him kind of like this kind of like Ultimate Warrior like bonus feature, like a game unlockable. You know, if you remember like for a lot of the God of War games, when you beat them, you got like alternative skins. I remember like the first one when you beat it on the hardest difficulty, you got like the cow of war, and you were just a cow. So something like that, just like a canon bonus gear to make Levi more like bullshit to compete against all these guys that are goddamn Titan forms and shit, giant rail cannons. JK. Except Hades actually gave a good fight and stayed dead. Mark Gear just seems so much more important, like so much more threatening. Basically, Hades' fairy tale is equivalent to Naruto meeting Orochimaru, a powerful villain that brings tension and fear to the main cast. I think he's much more of like, he was much more like Pain, where he had this character kind of like sitting in the shadows for all these scenes, like he just kind of like existing and then like building up towards him. He's not kind of participating, but he's just kind of like commentating. And then you got him, and he's just so overwhelmingly powerful comparison to like any previous character, like by a massive margin. And the amount of things it took to beat him, which I just think was really cool, and I think a little bit more comparable than Orochimaru. Orochimaru was much more of like he reminds me too much more like Naraku, because it's always like, sweet, we got him, and he's alive somewhere. He's got some plan. He had some setup to keep himself alive, kind of bullshit. Where it's more of like, okay, we figured out this way it works on him. You know, maybe next time we'll be able to implement it faster. But he just got another way of playing up his sleeve, of staying fucking alive. Reptar's a dragon. My race main character from. Oh, that's the. I thought you were talking about the fucking dinosaur Reptar from Rugrats. It's like, I don't understand. Do you think that will see justice in the current arc in Zero? I hope so. I mean, I talked about kind of like the question of bringing them up. I think Mishima said in Volume 4 that he was going to have justice show up in the Digitalis arc, but decided against it. So maybe he's saving it for this arc, and we'll have like a cops military infiltration trying to get information while this is all going. I think it'd be kind of cool. I think it'd be really fun to see how that goes. Blue Fire depends. Finally going to start for Toriko. What do I have to look forward to? Fucking awesome adventures. Toriko's fucking awesome. I have so much fun. I would love to. It'd be a really cool feature to be able to like wipe the memory of like the content of a series and then reread it. And just like Toriko is one of those I definitely would, because I'd want to go in and just see all the surprises again. It's cool rereading for the nostalgia and just enjoying those parts again, but at the same time, it's different than getting that fresh one when you're so surprised at some of the craziness. It's such a complete like mesmerizing world. I just love Toriko. It's one of my favorites for sure. Personally, it's one of the best shonens I've read. I think it's better than a lot of the big ones. If I got to pick, I think the only series that I would maybe pick over at a lot of like the big stuff within the magazine that was running at the time is Bleach, just because even though Bleach has the most kind of like dropped issues, but I always really liked Bleach. I like the concept and the characters and the story is very fun. It fell apart in some areas for sure near the end, but overall I like it more than I like One Piece and Naruto. Just my opinion. Yeah, whatever as that may be. The Penance Stare. Most people don't know Ghost Rider is actually Agents from Heaven. I thought there was only one Ghost Rider. Are there more? I didn't know that. I know that there have been variations, but I thought there was only could be one at a time, rather. Not like one total. I thought it was like just like a spot that you kind of believed. I guess there's more though. I don't know too much about Ghost Rider. He's always one of those characters that I think is really cool, but like I don't know. I just never felt like I never had the idea of like reading. It's one of those comics that I don't think I would ever care to read. Obviously, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of rich like story. It just doesn't draw my attention. I'd rather see him in like movies and like TV shows. I'd like it more as like the idea, not as like a consistent story, but more of like this is a character that sometimes will show up in and out and like will hold a level of severity just by presence alone. Like, oh, Ghost Rider's here. Fuck, something's about to happen. We're in some shit. I always just kind of like that aspect, kind of like idea to him, or you know his presence just in general means things, rather than a main character. But again, just my opinion. Which is your favorite version of Mechagodzilla? Mine is the I don't know a lot of the Godzillas. I only know a handful. My Godzilla like knowledge is very scattered. Like some of the older ones, but I don't remember much about them. I've just seen them. A lot of the newer ones, I remember there was a TV show. There was an animated TV show for a while that I liked. I thought that was cool. Those are most of my Godzilla. Obviously, the new movies. I want to get into some of the old Godzillas. I can watch old movies. Depends on the audio. Old movie audio bothers the hell out of me. Old, not even just movies, like just old audio stuff like that. It just you can either have that kind of like old classic timey stuff, like that's stereotypical like 50s. But like I don't know, it's just something about like the way that like old scenes kind of be when there's no music. It's just kind of like weird dead audio. It's just very weird in my opinion. I just never liked it. It just always bothered me. Anyway. Let me scroll down as I fucking try and get caught up. Actually, I like the idea of Mechagodzilla City. I just like the concept. Rex, what do you find it weird that we don't hear about Noelle's father ever? We only hear about her mother. Oh, yeah, that just means her dad. Her dad doesn't have to be anybody important. It doesn't have to be like a big deal. Fucking, her name's hard to pronounce. Aesir. She was the fucking strongest of the captains at the time. You know, she was extremely powerful. She could have probably been Wizard Queen if she didn't die. Like, at least potentially in the running. Probably not over Julius. But, yeah, she seemed like a really big deal. And that's like one of those sayings. Like, doesn't mean that he's not, like, anything. Like, it doesn't mean he's trash. But it just means, like, he's probably just not like a big character. He's just some guy. He's just some happy dude. Maybe he's just good at swooning chicks. He could be a weakling for all we fucking know. And, you know, him and his wife just clicked. I don't know. Didn't we see him at one point? We just don't really know anything about him. I feel like we saw him in a panel. And he had a mustache. I'll have to go back and look. Where was I? Speaking of Megazords, the Mystic Rangers can become their Zords. Yeah, that was weird, but I liked. And then, Rita pulls the creator powers when it makes her monsters grow. Oh no, Rita became the Mystic Mother. She was the Mystic Mother in that one because in the Sentai they're two different characters, but they're played by the same actress. And then here she was the Mystic Mother, and then they decided that because Rita got turned good at the end of Countdown to Destruction by the Z-Wave, and this is like the path that, you know, like it does make sense. It didn't weaken her; it just turned her good. And then it seems like, you know, Lord Zed seems to. I think the author, not the author, I think the voice actor said that Lord Zed would definitely end up turning evil again. Obviously, he's not the writer. I just always took that as like very interesting. But yeah. Anyway, Irie's still better than Mother than Rat. Yeah, Ragia was weird. She's very weird. Salem 2, yo, what up? What's up, Joshua Light? How are you guys doing? What's going on with you guys today? Jason, what's up, man? I think Guild Arts will show up in the next chapter, 100 Years Quest. It'd be perfect. We'd have Guild Arts hype in the anime and manga at the same time. Plus, perfect way to even the odds. Well, I think, power-wise, I still think that they can fight those guys. Because it's like, okay, they have Laxus and Jalal. Those are like their big two. Those are their big two guys in that whole group that are threats. But they have Natsu, Wendy, Gray, fucking Urza. Oh, actually, no. Gray wasn't with them. Neither was Wendy. But they still have Natsu, Lucy, and Urza. And Natsu, I think Jalal and Laxus, I think, are stronger than base Natsu. But I think Dragon Force Natsu could fucking what the fuck? Mop the floor with all of them. Just completely wreck them. I don't see that as much of a competition. At least the amount of time he could be in it. it's short period of time. He's only seemingly got one big attack with Dragon Force. Obviously, different is Fire Dragon King mode, but Dragon Force is where I'm talking. And I think it wouldn't be hard for him to take up that whole fucking area because it's like we didn't see the Dragon Force be like a new level of power last time. His Demolition Fist just like because it like obliterated a mountain like off in the distance, but I think more of the range of it was very impressive because it's just like a straight raw like distance. It's gonna fucking the entire area is gonna be enveloped and it's gonna have damage and it's gonna go around. It's not gonna be nice for them. I just think it's pretty goofy in the idea, but obviously Dragon Force. Dragon Force is like the singular best power up in Fairy Tail. It's not okay. You can get another power. Maybe it'll dip into other things, but like the thing about Dragon Force is like if you just have Dragon Slayer magic, like as a singular unit, I think Dragon Force is the best power up because it's a raw power up in general. It advances whatever your perk is. Because like originally Natsu's fire couldn't burn magic, but we saw his Dragon Force fire could, so we knew that at one point he would get it. And everything still has perks. Maybe like I don't know. I guess it wouldn't really matter because Wendy's not fucking there. They only have one Dragon Slayer there, but just that one I think would be enough to take out everybody in that area because Dragon Force is just so fucking OP. But I think it's the emotional level of weight because like if you go back and look at that chapter, like they're kind of like freaking out. But Urza's fucking like process, her entire like take in of that scene was Jalal. The person she's completely perplexed within is Jalal. She's like, hey, your whole guild, but she's the dude that she wants his dick. Jalal like locked on. She was just like Urza. I think Jalal is still stronger, but I think Urza can obviously still like push him to that end limit. In an idea of a fight, I think that the fact that she how much she loves him is completely renders that impossible. It's like you have these two strong characters, they can't do damage to each other, but it's not like they can't hurt each other. It's like because of emotions. But you take that out on Jalal's side, and it's just going to be him beating the shit out of Urza, and Urza can't do anything back because how she feels about him, and she probably just gonna get pissed off and like she's gonna want to behead Touka. To be perfectly honest, I didn't think about it too much because it's just like we're thinking more of like what's this gonna do between the two of them. But I feel like Urza at the remembrance that this character is the reason that now her future baby daddy is turned against her. She's gonna want to fucking behead her. She's gonna want to behead Touka. I think it's hilarious that like Touka. She's got so many interesting aspects to her, but the thing that people focus on is because she fucks with the ships, which it's such a small thing. You have this character who for like the past 100 years has been like operating in the shadows and like very secretively, but at a threat level comparable to Zareth. And then like she only became recently active, like very widely active. It's more been like whispers and like rumors and stuff. She's over 100 years old, again, comparable to Zareth. She's got a fucking cat tail, so we don't even know if she's human, like, in general. And she's, like, possessing people's bodies. And people are more concerned about the ships, like, I get it, but at the same time, that the ships are gonna get rattled. They'll make their way eventually, but as now, they're gonna get fucked with. And it's an interesting thing in general, but, like, goddamn. It's not gonna be taken this well. Touka though, I just think is cool. I like that aspect. I like the mystery about her. Like Zareth was like powerful for overwhelming forces, so extremely strong. He's got an empire with over 1 million soldiers. The Spriggan 12. He himself is very powerful. But I think Touka's gonna be like equivalent, but it hurt like influence. Like maybe she's only got a couple hundred people. But you don't know who those couple hundred people are. They could be anyone around the world. It could be fucking Warren all this time, and this is why he's so fucking weird. Who knows? Who knows about that? We'll find out, though, eventually. But then Touka. Anyway, I think Zero is the most powerful form. Zeo. Well, Zeo should be... Zeo is different because the Zeo crystals, they could get stronger. That's why Zeo stood for... in Power Rangers Zeo, what was it? It was fucking Zenith Omega Omni, believe. It was like supposed to be above everything else, just the most powerful one. And they even talk about in the comics books that the Zeo Rangers are different. It's just Zeo power in general is like just an all-around amp, because a single crystal of Zeo energy is enough to destroy a planet. And they have the Zeo planet that was recently built in the comic books. That if the energy was harnessed as a weapon, it would wipe out the entire multiverse. So Zeo energy is just different. Plus, like, what was it? Fucking Jason couldn't withstand the power of Zeo Ranger Gold. It was just too much for him. They needed 3 people combined in order to stabilize it. OP. Have you watched Power Rangers Beast? I haven't watched it yet. I gotta finish Ninja Steel. I got to that halfway point where I was like, okay, I'm caught up, and then they had Super Ninja Steel. And I don't know. I usually binge watch seasons. That's usually been my thing, rather than watch it week to week. I think it just rolls better. And it just has because the thing about it is, like, the Power Rangers, they have the episodes where it's like, okay, this is plot stuff. This is important to the plot. And then there's just kind of like a fun episode. But the thing about it, when you watch it week to week, you're getting it little bit by bit. But whereas when you watch the episodes like back to back, you're getting the normal fun stuff that's just like, okay, we're gonna have a battle, maybe teach a lesson or a value, and then the next episode you're gonna get something that has to do with the story, something that you're gonna get. Oh, cool! Here is what essentially this entire season is gonna be about overall, the overarching plot. But you're still getting it in a way that you're gonna be able to keep up. I just think it's, I guess, not like slow to keep up, but keep up like kind of like in the forging of the story. It's just kind of like, I don't know, but it's weird. That's the weird thing about Power Rangers, though. And it's still going. I gotta get up to Beast Morpher soon, though. Josh is a famous name. What I was talking to. Oh, cool. I thought it would maybe Joshua from oh my god, what is that game? The World Ends With You or whatever. I haven't watched Power Rangers for close to a decade. I'm not caught up right now, but I will. I will at some point. And he's always CP9. What's up, Senpai? Som, how's it going? Arlen Park was cool with the Nami backstory. I like Nami. Did you like Power Rangers Time Force? I like Time Force. Ransik, I think, is one of the most interesting villains in Power Rangers, for sure. I think he's one of the most complex, if not the most complex, and probably has the most interesting singular storyline besides the Magna Defender. But he was an anti-hero. Out of the villains, I think Ransik probably has... Oh, no. Lord Draken from the comics, and then Ransik. Ransik is just super interesting. Like, the whole thing with his daughter, I think, was just such a nice dive to his character. If you haven't watched it yet, I guess I'm not going to say go watch all Power Rangers, but it was just such a... If you want to, like... I want to try Power Rangers, but I want a really interesting villain. You want to try it, because it's fun. It's like a fun, cheesy series a lot of the time, but like it has a lot of good lore and good overarching story parts. Time Force is one of the best singular storylines, just because of Ransik. I think he was just such an interesting villain. Where was I? I think Annie's Lobby is overrated, but I like Annie's Lobby. I thought that was good. Someone like talked to me about it the other day, because I never thought about it. They're like, because he doesn't like the power up in Annie's Lobby, because they got like beat by all these guys, and then they just developed new techniques overnight, like Diablo Jambe, the Ashura stance, second and third gear. I never thought about it, because I always thought it was like a much longer period of time, and they trained and like, but they just kind of jumped it, and then it's like, why don't you fucking... How was the train ride where you guys like beat up on some dudes, like where you thought of these really good techniques? When did you practice this? But whatever. I thought it was cool. A little bit of a kind of like a question mark hiccup, but at the same time, it's like it's not too big of a deal. That's just what he told me. I was kind of like thinking about it, like, yeah, it's a interesting. I never thought about it, but whatever. Super up for the final Fairy Tail opening. I think is it next episode? I think it's the episode after the next episode. It might be next episode. What is next one? Is it on the 6th? What day is that? Saturday. Let me see. No, it might be next episode, because it was either the 6th or the 17th. Or 13th. I just don't remember. Well, cool. Usher was flashy effect, but that's all. It's just, I don't know. It just made me fucking realize that, like, the thing about it that bothers me is there's a way in One Piece to get powers, right? You get the devil fruits, and then you have kind of like special martial arts, like what was it, Kenpo? You have hockey, but you had like, okay, Diablo Jambe, like this, you like, okay, this should be a power. Why is this not a devil fruit? Why is Sanji get a devil fruit? It's like, oh no, it's he's not getting it through a power. He's pretty much spinning until there's enough friction to make his legs superheated. Which again, it's like, okay, I don't know how it holds that long, but whatever. It'd be cool if like Sanji, like, because like, he does the spin. Could you imagine like if his fighting style was he was fighting like Diablo Jambe was just bigger, but like it was a much bigger thing. Like he couldn't stay in it. It was like a charge attack. Like he's fighting, he lands, he does like a couple spins, and then he's still fighting again. And it's like you build up to it, and you could use it, use it for a short period of time till it burns out. Kind of like a energy gauge in different fighting games. The one I think of always is I think my favorite is Budokai Tenkaichi 3. You didn't need like a special timer for your bar. You just had those you had those gauges, and then you could use your ult so many times dependent on it. But you had to charge up the bar twice, and then you could use it in power normal attack. But you could like charge up. Okay, I'm gonna charge up, use this attack, and then charge up, and then you're working towards your ult, but still like trying to keep in the fight. I think that'd be cool, but sure, it just seemed kind of ridiculous because like if it was an intimidation aura, then how is he doing all those extra attacks? How is he manifesting these things? I just don't think it really makes sense. I don't care if it comes back. I think Zoro is already absurdly overpowered. Like he just trashes everyone he fights since the time skip. That's one of the things I haven't liked about him since the time skip. Because he's pretty much just manhandled everybody he's come across, except for Fujitora, but they didn't really fight. They kind of just they clashed swords for like a second. I don't know. And his lobby was basically power up boosts all around. Yeah, but I think the issue that I was just kind of like thinking of is like, it was like overnight. And it wasn't like Fairy Tail or anything that has or Naruto, like a power source. Like, oh, you could unlock a power thing. Like something like Second Origin, or like in Naruto, if you learned how to open one of the gates, like, cause you could like fight somebody. You don't have to learn all 8 gates. You could be like, yeah, I learned how to open 3 of them, 3 or 4 of them, because each one of them is like a power boost, like a kind of like a cheap a cheap power boost temporarily or permanently, or like oh, I'm gonna transfer my power into you, so you're gonna be able to fight as strong as both of us combined. Whereas like One Piece, it's like physical strength, and then like I don't know, there doesn't seem to really be any power source outside of hockey. So it's like, how did you guys just get like in general this much more powerful overnight? It just kind of always seemed a little bit iffy to me, but it's not a big enough deal that I really fucking care. I more dislike some of the current stuff because like now hockey has an automatic boost in it. Like if you're losing, you just get a boost by default. I think that's dumb. That's like the saying thing, oh, if they almost die and then come back from it, then they just get a boost in general. I think that's stupid. It's just kind of like a dumb asshole thing that it's annoying to even have exist just because of the fact that it's not like, oh, I lost, I have to go get stronger. Obviously they do that, but the idea of having an automatic boost like that I think is dumb. And it seems to only apply to them. Because with Dragon Ball, it's the Saiyans, but most of the fucking important characters are fucking Saiyans. And then with One Piece, it's somehow only applies to Luffy. It just seems like because otherwise, why isn't anybody else that Luffy's been beating that has hockey? Why didn't their hockey get better and then beat fucking Luffy? Because it's especially again Katakuri, I think is the ridiculous one. Because it was like he's losing. He should get when you got your back to a corner, hockey will just advance. It's like, okay, Luffy's losing a fight, and he's turned around. This was Katakuri losing his first fight ever in his life, and somehow he didn't get that boost. It's just dumb, in my opinion. I don't like them. I don't know why I ranted. I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel about those power-ups. I think it's dumb. I don't like the hockey auto boost. Oh, hang on. Almost. I want to lose my fucking place. Oh my god. How many comments was I? Oh, wait, no. Oh my god. I'm just like mumbling to myself as I'm trying to scroll up and figure out where the fuck I was.
Here we go. Here we go. No idea why, to be honest. JK and Arc's debatable, which is strongest. I think it's Zio. I think Zio is the strongest in terms of power. Like if you measured them all just by like their connection to the grid, I think Zio is because Zio is both connection to the grid, but also boosted by Zio energy. So I know I gotta revamp my Power Ranger lore. I know a lot, but I don't know enough. I need to keep going. Like when I went to Morphicon, there's so many people. There were so many people that knew just like absurd like in deep lore pieces that like connect all crazy like. No, I'll get there eventually. I think there's just more like trivia stuff, to be perfectly honest. But whatever. If you catch up, if I want to catch up with Eden Zero, I'll just go to your reviews. Thanks. I like Eden Zero. It's fun. We haven't gotten to an arc where it's like, okay, this is going to be a story defining arc yet. We've got like, character introduction arcs. I think the Drac and Joe arc will be the first like big one because it's like Fairy Tail. The first all right we do in series now was Phantom Lord because that was more of like a group thing rather than this is a character getting really introduced. This is their backstory. This is them doing their thing. Kind of like One Piece, like fucking Alabasta kind of felt like that to me. I guess fucking Arlong Park 2 in a way. Well, yeah, because they were. I guess it was more backstory on Nami, but you know what I mean. That's just how I feel. Gear 4th Bounce Man is faster. I thought Snake Man is even faster than that. Well, no, I mean it's faster, but it's not like the fastest form. Like Snake Man is definitely speed, and Bound Man or Bounce Man, or whatever, is definitely power. Because his hits like seem to have way more impact, way more ferocity, and like just level to him. But obviously with Snake Man is speed and unpredictability. With the way that like his hand bends, like I guess flexibility as well. Those two gaps. Galactic Intelligence Agency is what it's called. Yeah, thank you. I'm forgetting words. I'm doing so bad. It's because I've been binge reading Needless, and like my brain is in shambles from all these other series because they're like how ridiculous fucking Needless is. Of this right face in the anime scene. Just read through Toriko. What was it? Chio and her right faces. It's actually Setsuna too, and Tommy Rod all have crazy right faces. What are more egregious moments in Fairy Tail people overlook? I'll just give one. I'll give you one that I really don't like, and I'll compare it. I'll compare it to another one. Let me think really quick. Okay. Urza's beating of Kyoka. The reason I don't think it's a big deal, one, it was a way to give Urza a good, like, impressive feat. Okay, she can fight with none of her five senses, but at the same time, she didn't win. She tied with Kyoka, but she still lost. Urza, no matter what Urza did, unless she bullshitted somehow a victory. Like, not just like a victory in combat, like a victory in plot, like idea. And what I mean by that is like she somehow stopped it. Because you gotta keep this in mind. Urza's fighting Kyoka. What is Kyoka doing? Kyoka links herself to Face in order to speed up the process and activate them. And when her heart stops, when she dies, essentially Face will go off. Or when Face goes off, she'll die rather. But all she's doing is speeding up the clock. She didn't beat her. She tied with Kyoka in combat, but she didn't stop Face. She couldn't have stopped Face because even if she just like killed Kyoka and there's like, okay, Face is still 5 minutes on the clock. Okay, Urza would just be like, that's all I can do. All Urza could possibly do is prevent the speeding up time process. She had absolutely zero way to stop Face. She had zero way to go out of both the timer of Face and Face itself. She had a solution to neither, and Kyoka got what she was doing. She got Face set off. She won the war. Urza lost the battle, but obviously the dragons showed up and did their thing. Urza, nothing she did mattered. It would have nothing she could have done would have resulted in a victory in reality. With that whole conflict, Urza lost that. In reality, that is a loss on her record. Because Kyoka wasn't like, I have to beat her. Kyoka was, I have to make sure Face goes off. Face went off, so Urza lost. Whereas Laxus, this one that does bother me.
Lax's Red Lightning beating Wall, the Red Lightning, I can sort of see like the idea. Okay, what was it? Mercury fulminate. Like he used blood in it. There's blood in Mercury. Wait, is there fucking blood in Mercury and blood? I mean, I think it's iron. I don't know. I don't know the perfect science on it, but it's like okay, you have an idea about it. What you could have done that would have been more interesting is maybe give Laxus a different variant. Like okay, this lightning, because like there's different kinds. Maybe his lightning can like turn it into condensed attack. Maybe he overloads, and that's a classic way though to beat a villain who absorbs energy. Like imagine Laxus just made a massive storm, a storm that covered the entire coast of Hargion, like 100 fucking miles of storm, and then condensed it all, like pulled it all into one attack. And it's not like I'm gonna put my power and punch you out. It's literally just I'm gonna fucking feed you electricity till you either decide not to absorb it and to be destroyed by it, or you absorb it and you overload and you explode. But I know it was this Red Lightning where it was just like he pulled out of nowhere and fucking beat Wall, who is my favorite, also my fucking favorite member of the Spriggan 12, and won the fight. That I didn't like because of that whole fact that I think is an ass pull. Urza tying rather with Kyoko with none of her five senses being able to fight. You can figure out a plan. You can figure that out a way. You can say, okay, she was seeing pretty much with pain because she would still hurt standing up if all her pain, like the majority of her pain is coming from her feet. Okay, she's standing. She's gonna know she's hitting something based on the level of pain she feels when she swings her fist. With Laxus Red Lightning, it just felt like out of nowhere. And again, Urza could have just straight won, raw won, but there's no stopping face. In reality, she lost, and her being able to fight with none of her five senses was like, I'm gonna have Urza do something really cool before they lose. Like, okay, characters, at least they go down with like this absurd accomplishment under their belt. Whereas Laxus was just like, he did it, and we don't know if he could still do it. It was never built up, never foreshadowed, and it beat this character who you could have easily beaten. Again, like, oh, I'm gonna feed you the energy until you can't take it anymore, to the character that absorbs energy. That's one of those classic ways to beat a character that does that, but it makes sense. It's like, okay, pretty easy out, but at least it's something. Whereas it's like, okay, Laxus just pulled that out of his fucking ass. I didn't like that. I've always not liked that scene, both on the story idea, execution, and the fact that it was my favorite member of the Spriggan 12. God damn it. I miss Wall. He can still come back. I have a wild theory about that using Jenny Reallight, if anyone ever wants to hear that. What do you think that Fairy Tail will introduce a new character that can top Damari in terms of time ability? Unless there's a time dragon. I mean, Akinlogi kind of became that. But, like, the thing is that Demaria wasn't, oh, I'm a time mage. I mean, she housed the god of time, Kronos, and was able to stop time itself. She wasn't like, oh, I'm going to freeze time in an area. She was, I'm going to freeze time itself. I'm sealing time. It doesn't matter how powerful someone is, unless they also have time stop or time manipulation abilities, they're going to be frozen in time. That's just the extent of raw, like, traditional time stop. Versus, like, oh, I'm going to stop time in an area, but, like, it's, like, more applying to the people, so, like, it's going to be based on level instead. It's just, nope, time stop. I don't give a shit. What if a shonen protagonist... Oh, wait, anyways. How do you feel about the main characters turning evil like Eren and Gon, even if it was temporary for Gon? Well, Gon and Eren didn't turn evil. I mean, Eren still thinks he's doing the right thing. He thinks he's doing his justice. I don't even put him as evil. I would say more of, like, he's taking his own side. With Gon, he became much more angry. I don't think evil, but definitely, like, on the road for it. It depends, because there's a gap between series where... I actually was thinking about this today. So you have ones like where the characters... It's more about their adventure. It's more about the story of what the characters are doing. But they're going to develop along the way, kind of like Natsu. Natsu still has a very deep root into his personality from the start of the series, and the way he's a goof guy. He's very whimsical. He's fun. But throughout the series, you see like the way he reacts to stuff. His display of emotions. Him getting the idea of forgiving others with the flame of rebuke. That whole part. And like problem solving. Like he still just he thinks about things differently. He handles situations differently, but he's still the same guy in a lot of aspects. In the way that you would interact with him, it's really how he feels as a person. Rather, is how he develops throughout the series. That's the point. Whereas something like My Hero Academia, where you have the main character being this kind of like crybaby little pussy, and you're gonna see or fucking better one, History's Strongest Disciple Kenichi. You see, like, you can look at like rereading the series when they're over. Like when My Hero Academia is done, you're gonna be like, oh cool, Deku probably became this awesome hero at the end. And then you go back and look at chapter 1, similar to History's Strongest Disciple Kenichi. Go look, literally fucking, if you've read History's Strongest Disciple Kenichi, literally just fucking look at the main character in the last page and then compare him to the first page. It's just, or Aaron, where it's more about like the story of how the character changes drastically and they become this entirely new person, rather than, okay, this character's going to learn all these lessons and it's more about how they're going to handle the story rather than how the story handles them, kind of like that kind of way. They're two different kinds. I prefer the first kind, but it's fine. It depends entirely on how the character was story driven. Not like there's one series, I forgot what it's called, but like the main character was like, I want to be the Pope, and then he found out he was like destined to become the king of demons, and then he was like kind of like, I don't want to do that, and then he was like, I don't know, and then he's like, fuck it. It was like a snap 180. It was pretty ridiculous, but like something like that I'm not a huge fan of. Depends on how all it's handled. What if a shonen protagonist was an idiot from Hero, from mind attacks and consistent memory racing? I feel like it's way too dark for shonen antagonists. Why would the main character be like mind erasing? Wait, what if shonen was an idiot Hero? Oh, I don't know. Probably do something cool like that. That'd be fun. It's all like it's all just a lie. Could you imagine doing a series and the first entire arc was like a lie? Like it's this like normal happy shonen. Like just imagine like the most shonen, and then it's like the first arc's over, and then it turns out that was all a simulation, and like that was just a dream in some character's head, and then it's like, no, the series is fucked up. Just goes into like being really weird, and it's like some fucking Men in Black, like weird shit, like crazy. Oh yeah, we do with all these druggies and these like crazy science shit asses. And then to get like all the fun was just set up to blow your mind, mess with the reader. I think that'd be great. I was thinking the same thing for Tenka. Maybe. What do you think of Attack on Titan's manga and now anime having final season announced for October next year? Are they gonna start I guess that makes sense. I think that'd be actually a really good business strategy, because it's like the manga ends, you just finish the manga itself, including that arc, and then the anime of that arc is coming out. It'd be like, man, I really love this book, and then it's like, oh sweet, they made those books into fucking like 5 movies, and that 5 really good movies, not shitty adaptations. And it's like you go through the story, and they're like, sweet, and I can see it, on screen. I think that would just give it an extra feel to it, because it's like, man, I just finished that. I can't wait to see it now animated. Just give it that boost. That'd be cool. People say that Aaron deserved a Titan serum more than Armin. Do you agree? Oh, Erwin. I don't want to say Aaron. No. Give it the fucking coconut head. He was the one becoming the master strategist. He was becoming the Kenkaku Lord. So I think it was a better strategy to go to him. I think he's got more of an kind of lead on his head. He's more of a in-depth strategy guy, whereas like Erwin's like a fucking people person, good at manning people. I hate how Larkade was hyped up to be able to defeat Acnologia, but was defeated by Sting. Okay, here's the thing, Mercenary. Here's the thing. It wasn't, I can beat Acnologia because I'm more powerful than him. It was, I could beat Acnologia by hacks and messing with a part of his body. And, like, messing with his, like, emotions. It was much more of a weird kind of, like, concept idea battle. Versus Sting versus him. Because Sting could overcome them. They figured out ways around him. And Sting's not weak. I mean, Sting and Rogue did a better fucking job against Marg Gear than the Celestial fucking Spirit King. And this was Sting and Rogue in Dragon Force Unison Raid. He was beefed the hell up. That's Dragon Force Unison Raid, that's ridiculous. And Sting and Rogue canonically are stronger when they're around each other. If you separate them, they actually become weaker. So theirs is like an extra layer of multiplication, and like they straight up countered him too because they had holy magic and dark and shadow magic, so fucking Sting could just figure out wait okay do I eat this attack or do I cancel it out with shadow magic. So he just was smart about it. I think theirs was a really good win. I think it was cool. I always liked Larcade's character. He's one of my favorites of the spring in, especially in concept. I like this like religious bad guy like that. I think he's just interesting. He doesn't have a. He has more of like a not a side because of good or bad. It's more of like, oh, because like he's like he fights for love because he wants to do stuff for Zareth. And I think it's cool. I like the concepts. Sting is definitely impressive. Sting and Rogue, Unison Raid, Double Dragon Force, like that's impressive. Get out of here with that. I will not have Sting besmirched. Sting is not a great character, but I like him enough that I will not have his name besmirched. I think Zareth only said Larcade could beat Aknologia. Yeah, it's because I think it's more of like, oh, he has these emotions logically, or not emotions, desires logically, so it might work on him, because hacks, not because of power level stuff. But he also was, he had all these guys for hacks to go against Acnologia. Because that was the whole original reason of the Spriggan, is he wanted like an elite force to combat Acnologia. And a lot of them are hacks. Clearly he wasn't trying to outpower him, he was trying to out-hacks him, which is actually another extra layer of Zareth being Zareth and looking for shortcuts instead of like overcoming a certain obstacle. No, it's not like, oh, we just need to become more powerful than him. It's like we need to think a way around him because he's much more of a smart, like, kind of like thinking into it guy than like a Natsu who would be like, we just need to keep going and training, getting more powerful. Eventually, we'll be able to beat him. Zareth looks for the now, while Natsu looks for the future, kind of thing. An extra layer of awesome to Zareth. That boss. I think Zareth. Oh yeah, I already read that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made his plan to get Mavis in his first place. Now, I still believe in the Arcade hype a bit. Orochimaru's wasted as the series progressed. It became apparent what a loser he was. Unfortunately, I mean, at least he became essentially immortal as long as he puts a fucking curse mark on someone, and then he can like come out of their neck like a goddamn like hidden rapist. Jesus. Strong. Like, oh my god. Wait, where are we? There we go. Stronger time manipulators. Maybe. I think there's 4 right now. So I thought there was only 1 at a time Ghost Rider. Or maybe it was like, oh, you inherited Ghost Rider. Because I remember a lot of mine is from the movies, because I don't know a lot about Ghost Rider. I just remember him, like, the old Ghost Rider showing up and being like, I'm the veteran Ghost Rider, Nicolas Cage. I will help you and bring you to salvation. I just remember that. And he rode the Fire Horse, which I think that was pretty fucking cool, too. That was a classic. I'd ride, like, a Fire Rhino. Could you imagine? Just a dude on a flaming rhino skeleton. It's way more terrifying than a horse. A motorcycle, though, you'd hear him from so far away. But obviously, flaming wheels. Such a goddamn hard decision. Where is it? You know what actually happened to Jujutsu Kaisen chapter? Because I was confused about what was going on. Well, it was a flashback. We're seeing Satoru in high school days. And we're gonna see like him and Geto. Because I haven't read Volume 0. I think Volume 0 tells a little bit into why Geto, what happened to him between then and now, back when he went to school with Satoru, because he was like Satoru's, he was like the Sasuke to Satoru's Naruto. So it just kind of like, there's some mystery there, because this is, that's my rival, that was my rival, and he's a bad guy now, and he's like a fucking piece of shit bad guy who's fine with killing, innocent people. It's gonna be cool. I want to see more of it, because now we're getting more of that flashback. I guess it's kind of like it's kind of like comparing the season 0 to like Fairy Tail 0, and then adding that into like if you read Fairy Tail 0 and then immediately read Mavis and Zeref's flashback chapters in the main series, it adds such an extra layer to the series. I guess not layer, an extra flavor, an extra buff to it. You kind of get for that probably with Volume 0 for Jujutsu Kaisen and these current ones. I think it's gonna be cool. I like how like fucking Satoru is like a piece of shit. Like he's not like evil, but he's just such a douche as a kid, and then as an adult, he's like very happy. He's very friendly. He's got an ego, but at the same time, he's he's trying to train strong comrades to make a better world. He's a good guy. Good guy. What do you think was bad when Luffy challenged Big Mom at Fishman Island? Yeah, I think it was dumb because like he just got out of the time skip. He just like, oh, my brother died, and then he had a whole point literally right before then where he had the flashback to, Ace, when he used Red Hawk, and he's like, I'm not gonna let anyone of my crew die again. And then he immediately challenges somebody so far beyond what he was at the time. Like, he just challenged fucking Big Mom and just pissed her off. It's like the only reason that he didn't get fucked over by being an idiot is because Big Mom didn't. She's just like, that scoundrel, and didn't say, fuck it, let's kill him. Could you imagine that scene? Imagine this. Like, obviously, this isn't what happened, but this is just a hypothetical. Luffy challenges Big Mom, insults her, and she just says, fuck this guy. And then immediately after, like, hey, a week later, and then it's like Big Mom's entire fleet surrounds Luffy, and then, his whole crew dies, and then he becomes like a fucking torture slave or some shit. Just imagine that, and it's such a bad idea. It's like if fucking if you were like, I'm gonna grow and become the strongest guy in school, and you're like, okay, I know I have my perfect plan of getting strong, and I'm gonna go down in line and I'm gonna fight all the strongest people in order. But like after like the fifth fight out of like 20, you went up to like one of the top people and you flipped them off and spit in their face, and then were surprised you got the shit kicked out of you. I just felt like that was such a dumb decision, because it wasn't like, oh shit, I have to save people. Big Mom is pissed off for some reason. It's like, no, she didn't care about you till 10 minutes ago when you told her to fuck off, essentially, over radio. It's such a moment of just like, why, Luffy? Why would you do this? You're immediately putting everyone in danger again. And it's not like, oh, we're just going to an island adventure danger. Because you could say, like, okay, he wanted to go to Punk Hazard, which was the most dangerous out of the ones that he had available. That one's kind of like, okay, he can still kind of play into his character, but it's like maybe he's gonna he's like, oh, adventure is gonna be dangerous anyway. But like the people he's fighting, he's not gonna just go out of his way to like, fuck you, old woman that could one shot me at the time. I just think that was such a dumb idea for his character to have, because also a lot of the Straw Hats, their character development that they got during that arc went out of the window after that. Because I think I don't remember which volume it said, but like Oda didn't like the way that he changed them, so he turned them back. Like Usopp was like a brave dude, but that took out all the comedic ways of his character, so he made him a coward again, stuff like that. And so like a lot of their character development just kind of went out the window immediately after Fishman Island, and that's why I haven't liked a lot of aspects of current One Piece. The idea of developing characters and then immediately retconning it, it just is silly. I didn't like that. That's one of my problems with that whole scene. Kaido one-shots Luffy fourth gear, good luck. Yeah, he one-shot him, and now he's learned a hockey that he's going to do damage past his scales, and he's going to beat him anyway. I don't know. I don't like that Oda keeps giving Luffy new power-ups when he has Awakening set up. Like, he's going to have mastered every hockey and then still not have his Awakening. Because it adds for, like... It's one of those easy power-ups that it's like, okay, yeah, he could have been fighting Katakuri, right? This is what I wanted to happen. Again, this is just... It doesn't matter what I want because, obviously Oda should go for what he wants to do because it's his story. What I was hoping for was, like, he's fighting Katakuri. He is already really strong, but then unlocks Awakening, and maybe you just have this kind of, like, raw, like, moment where Luffy is, like, pure instincts, because maybe that's, like, what happens when you have Awakening. And then he beats Katakuri, and then, okay, he fights Kaido. Kaido beats him. But then Luffy's like, I know how to beat him. I have to master my Awakening. And it's like, okay, you have this power that we already saw. It's already set up. And obviously that made you stronger. Imagine mastering that power. And instead it's like, we're going to keep that out of the way. Because now it's like, if he brings it up towards Kaido, who's like, Kaido is a big boss. Like, Kaido is a raid boss. There's a difference between a dungeon raid boss, or a dungeon boss, and a raid boss. With all the other villains gone up before him, they were big opponents. Kaido is one of the biggest opponents. He's a raid boss, and he's going to take a lot to defeat him. And so if you beat the raid boss with, like, a power that, like, if he gets Awakening during that fight and that's what makes him win, I think it'd be stupid. I would have much rather this arc ends with Luffy mastering Awakening and then beating Kaido, And so you could have Luffy be on level with these other big shots rolling in near the end of the series, and it would just make sense. Again, going from if you assumed just the way that like Fairy Tail was going with 400 Years Quest, assumed that Alvarez was the end arc. Natsu going into the final boss fight learns how to use Dragon Force, the special power that he's only been able to like use amateurly and like through anger or forced power ups. And then he's finally been able to use it. And now with Awakening is just like, okay, cool, Luffy has it eventually, but the series is close to an end, and we have never seen him use it, and we've never seen him because one of the things about it is like it could have been that's what makes Rubber bullshit. That could have been his Awakening, because then because he's got the hockey when he's in fourth gear where it's like hockey armored, but it's like also elastic. It's hard elasticity, so it's gonna be fucking super hard to penetrate or do damage to. And then it's like, oh yeah, that's Awakening. He can literally make hockey elastic like that, making him more OP. Didn't do that. So I don't know. Is he gonna make like buildings rubbery? I don't know. Some of the story choices I haven't liked, but again, my opinion is for my own. If you agree with me, that's fine. I still think Oda should overall do what he thinks is best. It's his story. Obviously, his fan base is happy. So, the author and the fan base happy, obviously, is the best solution than some of the people that, like me, I enjoy One Piece, but I'm not like, man, I love One Piece. I love this story. So if, like, something happens in it that I don't really like, it's like, that's fine. It's not one of my favorites. The people that it is its favorite loving it, so whatever. It's just one of those things I always say, because it's like the other day I had someone on Twitter being like, how does it feel to know that One Piece blows Fairy Tail out of the water? I'm like, I don't really care. I don't care if One Piece does better. I mean, I read what I like. What Fairy Tail could literally be going like barely skimming by cancellation, and I'd be happy as long as it's succeeding, and I'm enjoying it. Then I'm enjoying it. That's why I get mad with some of this series. So it's like, man, I really love this series, and then it gets canceled early on, and I get fucking annoyed as fuck. Versus like, damn, this series is like, or this could be a 100-chapter series, and it's like, well, it's still going. I don't really care. It can get canceled at any point. Somebody's gonna be upset. I won't be upset. I'm getting lost in this. It's funny how sad when your Big Mom gets her meteors back. It's funny and sad how when Big Mom gets her meteors, she backs out. What? Gets her meteors, she backs out. I'm so confused by that comment. Big Mom though is a disappointment. She's a meme. That's why people call her Big Meme. She's a joke. She fucking has such a horrible record. Her and Jack had horrible records. Like Big Mom got knocked off her the 1,000 Sunny by fucking Jinbei. How? What is it, Jinbei or Jinpei? If it's Jinbei, how the living shit did he push her off? How did he possibly have enough power to knock her off the ship? She should be so far beyond his league it shouldn't be possible. Blitzed by Brooke, clowned on by Nami. She sucks. She's awful. During the Deku versus overall fight, Toga came. Did she? Oh, I get you now. Fuck her. Just kidding. That's good though. She's a crazy bitch, so you gotta be careful. In regards to the scaling between the guild and team, Natsu breaks out evenly. But the guild having far more firepower, however, big issue is Touka. Yeah, Touka is why they... Oh, I don't... Touka... Yeah, but the thing is... So I think Natsu, Lucy, and Urza, because mainly that Dragon Force Natsu, is stronger than the rest of the guild. They don't know how strong Touka is. And Touka... I mean, everybody in the guild could be, combined, 100. Let's just say everyone in the guild is 100 points combined. Okay, maybe Natsu in the group is, X amount combined. But it's like... Okay, cool, you have a 100-point minion, but a fucking 50,000-point boss. Like, Touka is so far beyond the total of the guild. She's the threat. The guild itself is not the power level threat. Touka is the goddamn power level threat. Why can't they kill off Makarov even though he came back in a good way? I don't know. Makarov is so confusing. The only way I can figure this being super fun is if Fairy Tail went on for a long time. Imagine... Fairy Tail goes on for JoJo lengths, and it's 30 years later. It's just way down the line. Fairy Tail, whatever. And Makarov is still the same age. It's like he became immortal. Like, he came back from death so many times, he became unaging. And he just is...
he can die by natural reasons, like if somebody shot him in the face, but he doesn't age, so he's just perpetually like this old man, and he's just in this shitty state, and it's just forever he's just gonna be this crotchety old dude. I think that'd be hilarious. It'd be a fun story aspect in a large scale of things. It's like, no, the author just couldn't decide to kill him for so long. They just made him immortal. It's like Samurai Jack, how they turned it into like, because the series has been a hiatus. It was like, what, like 10 years, 15 years fucking in between episodes. It actually been like 90 years in the series. And Jack had just become an immortal because of time magic. I thought that was a really fun way to add an additional piece to the story. What do you feel bad for Bertolt the moment he was eaten by Armin? I don't fucking care. I didn't care about that dude. Honestly, I never cared too much about him at all. I mean, Reiner at the time, I thought he was lame. I feel bad for him now because every single time he goes against Eren, he gets the shit whooped out of him. He's just their big punching bag. Poor dude. But he's entertaining as a character. I never cared too much of him other than the design of the Armor Titan. I like that design. I think that one's really cool. The only one I liked more design is the Jaws Titan. What do you think of Black Clover mangas? Do you think Black Clover manga is better than My Hero Academia? Yeah, I like it a lot better. I like the pacing of the story. My Hero Academia has a lot of slow parts, and I think that's a little bit of an issue. I like the cast a lot more. I like the story. I like both of the main characters, and I like the rivals. But I like the interactions between oh my god, I almost said Natsu and Gray. Austin, but I don't really like any time the interactions between Bakugo and Deku happen. I think theirs comes off as annoying. It's like Deku just punch him in the fucking face, tell him to shut up. And like the thing I like about Bakugo, I like he's got a cool design, he's got a cool personality, he's just some asshole. He's got a cool power, but it's like you've been saved so many times. You shouldn't have the functionality to have a fucking attitude with this dude. This should be like the one guy you're like cool with, but no, he's just an asshole. It's like it's like a character. It's like, okay, they're introduced as like tough, and then they just get the shit kicked out of them. They're not going to come off as intimidating. Like they're not going to be the tough guy anymore if they're just constantly getting their asses whooped. I just wish that Baku would be like, why am I going to be an asshole to him? They fucking beat me in a fight, pretty much. He's saved my ass multiple times, but you're still a dick to him? You don't have to be like buddy, but like you should be at least somewhat kind to. Like, Jesus. That's the thing that really bothers me about Bakugo, and that Deku just not punching him in the face. Like, you just imagine like helping out somebody out so many times and still treat you like shit. And that's why I always said it's like Deku and Bakugo aren't Naruto and Sasuke, they're fucking Sasuke and Sakura. And it's just fucking always like Deku will be like, no, man, he's good. Just don't worry about him, as he calls me a piece of shit. And like insults me after I saved his ass so many times. It just always bothered me. I like them individually. I don't like how they interact. But also, I just overall like, I like Black Clover story more. I think it's more interesting. I like the layout for powers and stuff. I like the fights. I like the designs more. But that's just my opinion. Obviously, My Hero Academia has a larger fan base. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. As long as people are enjoying them and they're doing well enough to keep going. I remember somebody tried to like tell me that because the Fairy Tail, the volumes still sell fine. They're obviously not as big as their heydays, but like it's a series that is now released only digitally outside the volumes. The volumes are still doing really well. It's not in the same magazine. It's bi-weekly, and it's like as long as it's doing well enough to keep going, I'm fine. I don't care. It's doing all right for itself. So why does it bother me if a series does more? There's always going to be a series that does more. Who fucking cares? And it's just always kind of been a little bit ridiculous. Trying to use sales stuff, and Black Clover's still pretty popular. It's also just all around there. I just really like Tabata's storytelling and the way that he handles a lot of the arcs. Because that's one of the things I really liked about Fairy Tail storytelling. Because a lot of the arcs, like, they had their own individual layouts, but they had something that relates to the main story. And, like, you look at all the story arcs back, and there's something about Zareth and fucking the demons of Aetherius and all these things. And then it led it to Tartarus, and that led into fucking... Alvarez. It just had an extra spice to it. And that's what I liked about this arc. I just think it's going to be cool. And then later when we get an arc with more demons, it's going to be like, okay, well, that whole end of the arc led into this, and they're all going to kind of be like this cool tree that ends to
just an overarching story that I think is much more impressive, in my opinion, though. What if Touka's power is based around the people she can get? She believe in her cult wise. Maybe it depends. I think she's still gonna have that like magic draining, and like I think she's gonna be much more hacks like Zeref. Because the thing about Zeref had a lot of hacks, right? He had a lot of different like very hard powers, but Natsu was immune to them because of the fact that Zeref made him in his Z&D body to kill him. So that's why he's gonna be immune to him. That's why he was able to move during time stop. Zeref can stop time. Damari can stop time. So the fact that Zeref's like, I need you to kill me, and one of the things that I can do is stopping time. I'm going to make it so you can't... Pretty much when time stops, you're going to be existent in time. So he doesn't have any of that against Touka, so Touka's hacks is still going to be useful. The only thing that's going to be straight on board with him is, anything that he can burn, anything direct on like that. Like, we saw with the fucking... the weird, like, binding magic that had on him that was, like, absorbed into his skin, fucking with, like, all those veins and shit. That is different, because, that's, like, applied to versus, like, actually, it'd be super badass. Could you imagine if it was, remember Mary, when she has, like, the virus, black magic, and she could put it in her brain if she tried it on Natsu, and then he, like, oh, yeah, I just applied fire to my, pretty much my internal body. It's not just a layer, it's like literally throughout all of me. So it's like, yeah, it can burn anything applied to his brain, that would be a really cool, like, badass thing to do for a character. Because then it'd be like, oh yeah, he's also immune to, like, mind attacks because of it. I just think it'd be actually really more interesting now that I think about it. But anyway, what's my favorite Megazord? My favorite Megazords, I really like... I like a lot of the ones that don't have the mouthpieces similar to the helmets. My favorite, though, I think is the Grave Sword from the comics. That one I think just looks really cool. I think a lot of the Zords you get to see in the comics are what they probably really look like. Because the thing is with the shows, they're like big, clunky, they're a dude in a suit. Similar to like how the monsters, like, obviously if you saw the monster the way they look in the show, you'd know that it's a dude in a rubber suit. But people in the show, and they're the way they see them, it looks realistic. So, in the comics, you see the Megazords looking way more functional. So when you see them in the comics, it's going to just look better. But I always thought the original looked great. The original is one of my favorites. I think the Gravesword is definitely my favorite because I just like the concept of it. I love the design. It looks so cool. I love the fucking sword, too. But with the original, I think the original is one of my favorites. It has one of the coolest designs. The 6 swords, shoulder cannons. I like the design of its helmet, too. The Lights of Orion boosted Galactic Megazord, I think, was really cool, too. That's one of my favorite swords. In the series, I'd probably put it around those. And then my favorite Ultra Zord is the Zeo Ultra Zord with Pyramidas. Do you remember that shit? It was the most, I think it's the most awkward Zord ever. You're literally a giant brick wall. I think it's the largest Ultra Zord, and it has like zero flexibility. It's literally a big wall of weaponry, and you just flatten people. Like, it's like, oh, he can only move forward at me, but I literally can do nothing about it because he's gonna fucking vaporize me. I always thought that was such a overwhelming force in Zeo, was the fucking Zeo Ultra Zord. I want to get that one. I need to buy it eventually. I think they're gonna do a lot of recreations, Hasbro. So maybe if they make like a really sick figure for the Zeo Ultra Zord, can you imagine big ass pyramid fucker coming at you? God damn it! Who watches The Flash? I haven't watched in a long time. I stopped watching it a while ago. Do you think Yuno needs to grow more? Well, the thing is that Tabata, you got to keep this in mind with Tabata. So Tabata, he said that he's planning the series out for the long haul, which is very believable because we're 200-something chapters in, and we've only really focused on the Clover Kingdom. We've got at least 3 other kingdoms, as well as possible other continents, and the Land of the Sun, where Yami's from, that they could have arcs in. And if each of them is around 200 chapters, that's already close to Naruto's length. So you got to keep in mind, if okay, I'm a guy who plans out the story, I'm planning out stuff for characters. You can't have Austin, the main character and his rival, change drastically within one arc, because there's just going to be a plan cut out for the long haul. Whereas Noelle can have just her personal character moments in that, but to have like a completely 180 of like her existence is probably going to be pretty crazy. Like maybe Yuno is going to be a lot different at the end. Maybe Asta will be more mature, kind of like more stoic. Could be. It's just going to be in a much more drawn out way of the story. So when we get to that point, I think it will be a little bit more of like, oh yeah, look, they've come so far. You just probably can't. It's easier to notice again characters where it's like you're going to see them change drastically versus characters like Austin, who have got small, gradual changes that over in the end of things will be, probably a lot larger to look at. Right now, we're just getting kind of like the opening bits. It's only been a year for them, and like for the most part, they've only done like knowing a couple like big things, and especially like they haven't had a lot of big who I am moments or like lessons learned moments. A lot of it is like we got to beat the bad guys, do certain things. It just gives to an extra layer, especially when you have moments like this. Similar to, we didn't get a lot of character development until like 30 chapters in. You got, I guess, a little bit of him when he got his senses. He kind of just like learned about like himself in combat. But with his fight with Rill, this was 130 chapters in, and we saw him like how excited he was. Like he was being his like more cheerful self. That like when we see how he interacts with Asta, he was happy to fight. He was very pleased with it. He was like, I'm having a good time. This is just a lot of fun. I'm going all out. I'm pushing myself. I'm keeping up with somebody of a big stature, and I think it was just a much more like bigger impact on his character because this is a character that we've only seen a little bit progression, and this was a big step. Similar to Asta, when we saw Asta like how beat up he was, that he wasn't going to fight in the finals. Like he was borderline like in tears. He was like shaking upset. So that just kind of like added two big steps for each of the characters, honestly, in one arc. It was like, one step, and then a jump, which I think was cool. And I like how that's being handled as well. That's just my opinion, though. That's just where I like to sit with things. After Shiki adds Valkyrie to the crew, there needs to be a Rave Fairy Tail Eden Zero crossover. I'd like it to be... I'd like it to be a bit longer, because when Fairy Tail had its crossover with Rave Master is obviously done, and Fairy Tail had just done the Sirius Island arc. Actually, no, I think they're just getting into the Grand... Oh, yeah, because just getting into the Grand Magic Games arc, actually. Just like, I think right around that time, like somewhere in the 250s, 260s. And they were like on level. This was Natsu prior to Lightning Flame Dragon. Like, it was like, I think it was actually, so I'm trying to think of if he had the long sleeve, because obviously that was a Natsu design change. Definitely, obviously, before Second Origin. Probably like Sirius Island versus like because we only had up to the fifth sword. With Haru, it wasn't full power Haru, because Haru, when he was at his strongest, had Revolt. By the end of the series, he had Revolt. He had Aizen Meteor, and I think he used up to Melforce. So he gets that. I think that was Sword 5 or 6. There were some big jumps after that for his levels, but they were around the same idea of like how strong these characters are. So I want Shiki to at least catch up to that level. So it's like maybe it's not the canon universe, but maybe like a what if universe just for them, like, or just crossover universe, and then you have them all kind of like the same level, defeating the same opponents, like Shiki. Like I said, like how I feel like this crossover happening is probably be like Naruto, Natsu and Shiki are like, I remember from the last crossover, and they want to fight, and then Shiki's just like, no, please, we're friends, we shouldn't be fighting, what are you guys doing? And it would like just kind of like give that sequel, and then like years later when a fourth, maybe like whatever Mishima series after Eden Zero he does, and then another main character shows up, and they happen again, and it's like, well, let me try and figure out how I play into this big mess. I think that'd be a really interesting way to add to it. I'd rather read the comics. Too bad DC ruined Wally. I feel bad for Wally. They turned him into a monster. I forgot about Wally's existence. Oh, what's up, Catherine Merkel? How's it going? Asta, or Yami, who's your favorite? I like Asta as a character in general more. Yami, though, is his badass self. Asta, I think he's better than but I think they're both at their best when they interact with each other. But I would say Austin for now. Plus, there's going to be a lot more for Austin in the future. He's got a lot ahead of him, which I think is going to be a big fun aspect of his character. You should World War Hulk. It's basically Hulk versus everyone. I got that book for somebody for his birthday once. No, God, I lost my place again. Fuck. No. Hang on. I wish this was easier to control. Stupid goddamn chat bar. God damn it, there's so much. How am I this far behind? Holy shit. What the how? Wait, there we go. Oh my god, I've been ranting. Holy shit, I just realized. Yeah, World War Hulk. Yeah, I got that at somebody for their birthday at one point. Now Spider's talking to somebody about Hulk. I'll skim over this because I know he's not talking to me. What's up, Telehim? How's it going, dude? How have you been? What do you think of the new Tokyo Shinobi Squad chapter today? I thought it was fun. We got this Taiga dude. Now we have them, and he's in the squad. He's in the squad now. He's got the last guy, at least that we know of, keeping. He seems to have some acceptance of him. So now this series is probably going to start to get into like meeting the other characters, like people not in their squad, maybe like rival gangs, the big villains and stuff. Something in the future that will kind of be like more of the series versus like, oh, character introduction stuff. Oh, the intro. That's what it's felt like till now. Yeah, I just rant and then I fall behind on the fucking chat all the time, Spider. Happens. Oda sometimes just does random shit to make his characters look badass. I mean, yeah, it's fine. That's fine. Some of the things that... I don't know. It depends on some of the choices that he makes. So was Tenro arc the Pain arc, Fairy Tail, or was it Tartarus? I think Sirius Island was the fucking Pain arc. Like, it was a very widespread emotional arc. You had these guys just show up and cause havoc on your land, and fucking just a level of force that went into Pain versus like Hades. What if Goku went? Oh my god, SSBK Kaioken Naruto 6 Fast. Wait, what? I don't know the answer to that one. What if Goku, Naruto, Luffy, Ichigo, and Speedblitz, whoever they're fighting? What does that even mean? I'm so confused on that one. What if the devil is holding the Shadow Palace together when he dies? Completely falls apart. It'll probably fade and they had to get the fuck out of there. What's up, Elric? How's it going, man? QB face. QB rape face no jutsu. Strongest Bleach carrot Raven, Ravines of Time Acnology can beat. I think he could beat anybody in Bleach. The thing is, the strongest person in Bleach was Juha, and the strongest feat is Gremmy's meteor, which would have destroyed the Soul Society. It was a big ass meteor. It wasn't fast, but it was fucking big. And Acnologia, like, what are they possibly gonna fucking do to him? This is a dude who ate time and then could like tear apart reality with his fucking hands, and fucking what was this? Like, what was it? Fucking Ethereon can wipe out a country in Fairy Tail. Like, Fiore is small, and it's 6,500 kilometers west east. That's fucking like what, twice as wide as America, and he fucking, and that's trashed him because like a handful of dragons was dozens of Ethereons. And those dragons were fodder to Acnologia in his base form, and fucking Ravines of Time Acnologia is far beyond his base form. I can't. His Ethereon is probably like a millionth of a fucking Space Between Time Acnologia. Ridiculous. And plus, like, a lot of their hacks wouldn't work on Acnologia because you just eat them. Just eat their power because it's all Reishi based. So because similar to magic, we just eat the Reishi. Let's see. Yeah, what's up, Elric? How's it going, man? Black Meteor versus All for One 1,000,000%. Asta would chop Deku in fucking half. Jesus. There's 2 more arcs left to adapt for Attack on Titan. They're getting there. They're almost there. How do you think is more gory and dark? Hellsing Ultimate or Attack on Titan? Wait, gory and dark? I think, isn't Hellsing got like a lot of rape shit in there? I don't know. I've only watched one Hellsing, and this was a long time ago. I don't remember much about it. I have to rewatch it, but I feel like Hellsing is more fucked up. Tenka's final form can resist anti-dragon effects, for example, or Greymon's. Well, yeah, I mean, that would make sense if you had like some form, like a power that already existed, and then you just had to overcome it. And then it's like, well, these things are gonna have a similar effect because it's literally just dragon attack damage boost. Josh, I think my author of My Hero Academia, the power up was more of a hype thing. I mean, yeah, but it's not really gonna matter. I mean, Black Clover has way higher power levels than My Hero Academia. It's ridiculous. Who is stronger? Asta manga, Deku manga. Asta's way stronger. He's done way more impressive things. They've done way more powerful bad guys too. Like, it's ridiculous. He's done a lot of big things by himself too. Like, he took attacks from the fucking the salamander, and the salamander was able to like incinerate large areas of forest with like claw swipes, and like fucking his like body heat melted that. I think the sphere of water that Noel made, and like the energy equivalent of that was like a 5 kiloton bomb, just for like the amount of heat required to melt that or to vaporize that much water in that short amount of time. Ridiculous, crazy stuff. Who do you think is better shit talker, the Hound or Zora? The Hound is, well, he gets way more raw. He's got way more range of shit to say. Zora's still a good guy to show to the manga. He's only got so many fucked up things he can say. Burst mode Digimon or X antibody Digimon? I don't know. I haven't looked into that. Now I'm very intrigued. I've heard of burst mode, but I don't know X antibody. I want to look into that. Fire Rhinos sound awesome. Oh my god, that was like an hour ago. God damn it. Who do you think would, what fight was better done? Naruto versus Sasuke or Luffy versus Usopp? Naruto versus Sasuke, easy. We're talking about Jared Punch antibody. That Trubimon or Lucimon, who's a better villain? Lucimon. Trubimon was just like, I'm a powerful, like, enveloping threat. I'm a large character now. That was pretty much him. Who got friend zone harder, Hinata before Boruto or Jorah by Daenerys? Naruto he's just retarded. So probably, Hinata before Boruto. Well, she got dicked as soon as the war ended. Fucking Jorah just became a normal, like, buddy. They were close. Lucimon, because Digimon. Oh, talking about Digimon now. Because I was... favorite villain in Tokyo Ghoul Rex? Edo, I talked about this. I thought Edo was the most interesting villain. That whole part where she starts talking about Genesis from the Bible, I thought was very intriguing, just because it was weird to be on a, hey, this is all going to be centered in Japan, or not Japan, Tokyo. It's area like a, for the most parts, like walled in kind of like idea of the characters in an environment. And then you brought in this character who was like weirdly Christian. Very strange. 1 second. I just thought it was kind of like very surprising and out of nowhere. Dragnon was an evil counterpart and it was Majin Dragnon. I don't know about that. Just like Luffy, Natsu challenged Zeref and Acnologia after his 1 year of training. What made less questionable, or oh my god, objectionable? I was like, I'm trying to figure out that word. Well, the thing is, the reason Natsu went after Zeref, like, he didn't just straight go, like, oh, Acnologia, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to try and fight you. Oh, I'm going to come after you. It was, okay, he trained, he wants to test himself out, he doesn't know he's ready, but he does have an ace up his sleeve, he's got something to use. That's what we saw. The reason he was willing to go die of taking down Zeref is because, he had the fucking Zeref power boost, or Igneo power boost that he had left. Igneo stored power within his body. Now, you got to keep this in mind. This was not a avoidable thing. These things were inevitable. If Luffy had to, like, it's like, well, if I don't challenge her, my friends will die. Luffy just, like, pretty much, like, told her to fuck off. Like, just give her the candy. And he's like, no, this is a free zone now. And then pretty much pissed her off. He didn't have to do. Like, Natsu was trying to die in the process. He was like, if I have to die in order to take down Zeref, then so be it. Then I'll protect my friends. Luffy's was like, extremely avoidable. Extremely avoidable. This would be like, I guess, like, the gap between, like, I have to defend myself. I have to, defend these people around me. Versus just, like, seeing somebody across the street and being like, hey, fucker, let's fight. And just, like, sprints at him or, like, flips him off. It's just some of the stuff, like, involved that I didn't like. The fact that, again, that he didn't have to do it. He just did it. He just decided, fuck this, I'm gonna challenge him. It's like, no, stop. You're doing things that you shouldn't be doing. You know, getting to people that you can fight eventually, but don't do it right now. You're just screwing yourself over. I think Oda's saving Awakening for the final battle against Blackbeard. But yeah, but then he's going to pull a power up. He's just going to have it. It's be like, hey, I have this. I can now fight you because of it. Versus like, I got this a while ago and I trained for this moment. I went and worked on it, and now, this is the thing that I think will be able to defeat you. But no, I don't know. It feels like Oda's not going to do it for some reason. Are we going to get a Gaiden? Or is it going to give you One Piece Part 2? I guess it'd be Part 3 then, actually. I don't know. Because I guess Time Skip would be Part 2. Anyway. Do you hear about the new the new OP for Black Clover in August? Yeah, I saw that. I'm excited. My favorite is still number 3. Number 3 is still my favorite Black Clover opening. Oh, no. How do I keep... No, I didn't lose my spot this time. Yep, there we go. I have not watched Kamen Rider. I don't think a lot about OP fans. They bully other fan bases. Yeah, that's One Piece's fan base is annoying like that. That's just always how they've been. One thing I don't like about a lot of plan to watch anime version of Fire Force. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I want to keep up with it. I wanted to keep up with Kimetsu no Yaiba, but a lot of seasonal stuff, I end up forgetting about it and then binge watching it later. I like to watch things in one go. Plan to watch. I already read that. Which dangerous world do you think would you want to live in? Berserk, where you can be raped by a monster, or One Punch Man, where anytime a random alien or villain blows up a city like Boros? I'd rather live in One Punch Man because I'm probably not going to get raped. Even though One Piece should have ended a while ago. I mean, it's. Sometimes I feel like Oda just kind of adds in stuff to prolong it, but I don't really. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, But I just think I think some of the endgame stuff is just being poorly planned out. But, maybe it'll work out at the end. Oh, that'd be funny. Sutamaru is probably really powerful. It's no surprise he hurt Jack. He, was gonna wreck Jack. He fucking, samurai, I moved faster than you, could react moves. And then one move, if he fucking went all out, he would have trashed Jack. Jack sucks. I don't like him. Rex, I mean, it's sad how Big Mom gets memories back to fall asleep. Big Mom, she's just such a lame villain. Have you watched Miss Dragon Maid Kobayashi? I watched the anime, and then I read the manga up to, what was it, the weird, hyper, big titty loli, and then there's, the weird stuff with the lesbian little girl, I can't. That's too weird. It's you're fucking, 6-year-old girl is, wants to be lesbians with a dragon girl that's centuries old. It was a very strange thing to kind of shoot that idea forward. I heard about this Fruits Basket. I have not asked her Naruto. What you like more? I like Asta more. Naruto, obviously his story is done, so his story is currently better. I personally, when at the base root of things, I just like Asta's personality more. They're both good characters. I like both of them. Aknologi versus the Endless. Aknologi would eat the Endless. He would eat him and then get more powerful in the process. I like Asta too. He's not chasing after a boy. Deku is a crybaby. He doesn't cry that much anymore. Bakugo is one of the most insufferable characters. I hate when the authors try to make assholes look like good guys. The thing about, I don't mind an asshole character is still entertaining. He's just a dick, which again is funny, but it's the fact that he's been saved so many times, and yet he still has that, and he still treats people like shit. Dude, fucking holy shit! How are you not at least somewhat humbled? He's still developed. He's gone from a raging jerk-off just pretty much a tsundere, but he's all right with me. I just don't like how he doesn't seem to let all this. The fact that he's not some ultra badass, just let it go. You can still be a dick. Just be like a fucking clever dick instead of just you're loud and angry. Maybe he will though. We'll see. Well, Horikoshi. I like Horikoshi. He's a nice guy. Deku is a cry. All this Deku hate all of a sudden. What about Wise? He's kind of Wise is an asshole too. That's what I'm talking about. He's Yeah, he's more of like a snarky asshole, whereas like Bakugo he's somehow still like a loud and angry asshole. What do you have to be angry about, dude? You're fine. He hasn't cried. Yeah, he hasn't cried in a while. I wouldn't say 80 chapters, but like he hasn't cried that much lately. He's been a little bit whiny, but he's okay. Black Clover's volume sales have dropped a lot. No, it hasn't. It's gone up. They're still sitting in the middle millions to 2 millions. What are you talking about, Spider? They haven't gone down. Other series just increased more. They had fucking last year they had a lot of fucking stuff doing well. It's because they had multiple big hit seasonal animes like the quintuplet shit ass, we never learn, and the slime anime. Those were all three on there, and those were all big seasonal stuff. And then you had all normal stuff. Fucking My Hero Academia had a movie. Its anime season just returned, and fucking yeah, that's why everything that kind of like went up. Attack on Titan obviously was still doing really well. Fucking One Piece was still doing really well. Black Clover didn't do bad. Other series just had fucking big, giant, fucking hit animes. What was the? Oh yeah, and Promise Neverland too. Yeah, it's the fourth one. They all had big animes that fucking hyper boosted them. Black Clover's have still been good. I mean, it's just that Baku. I don't dislike Baku. I just wish that he gets slightly humbled by all these dudes constantly like helping him, and then he still like has this absurd ego. Like he should just become like a snarky asshole. Like, I'm mad because you guys are all stupid, not just like I'm loud and angry. Funny guy though. You still like him. Afterwards revealed that Deku and Bakugo were never friends, and Deku was just some follower. I could look at Deku the same way. Rip. What do you mean by they dropped? What do you mean by they dropped? I really feel like Yuno should interact more with characters outside of Asta. Oh yeah, we'll see that. We haven't got a lot of that though. Like before this arc, we didn't have a whole lot of character for anybody outside of the Black Bulls, and we've gotten a ton this arc. And we're probably going to start seeing more after this arc, more interactions with them, depending on how the Clover Kingdom progresses from this onward. Because it's been mostly about the Black Bulls, because they're the main cast, the main characters crew cast rather, and knowing them is going to be very important. You got to get to know them fast, and then you get into the kind of the other characters. Maybe we're going to get more of the Crimson Lions. Maybe we'll get more of the Peacocks. We could get a new squad, and maybe we'll be finding all about those characters. Also, I don't know if it's audible. I don't know if anyone could hear. There's some loud noise in the back, just my neighbors. Don't worry about him. The kid is really loud. Oh, sorry. 1 second. Let me get some water. Fuck. Oh, my throat got super dry. Sorry about that. Dio versus Demaria. Well, Dio's still pretty strong, but if you take away his time stop, that's obviously a huge thing to his character. Hold on a second, my fucking throat. Should be a little bit better. There we go. With Dio, he's still really strong, but Demaria doesn't have really a whole lot outside of the time stop and age scratch, so that hacks is kind of like out of the way. I mean, she still has like generic magic attacks. She could just do a magic energy attack and still probably kill Dio, because I feel like if you fully took those things away but still had time manipulation, it'd still be kind of hard for him. But I don't know, I feel like Dio. Definitely the video game Dio, though. He's like absurdly OP. Let me see. Our friend Bakugo just turned a dick the moment people started filling his ego. Well, yeah. He has this ego. He has a huge power, ego, and superiority complex, and yet he still hasn't been humbled. That's what I'm saying. He could still be a dick. Maybe they're saving that until after the time stop, maybe they'll do a time skip, and he'll have like a couple years later, and maybe he'll be less of an angry dick and just be kind of a normal kind of jerk. Top 10 for quite a time. It hasn't been seen for a while. Black Clover? It was only in the top 10 for 1 year. It got like 9, I think. It's alright. It's still also doing really good anime sales. It's not like it did bad last year. It's because so many series had fucking hit animes, like big smashes. So, those all got boosted on there, on top of things that were already on there before. Which is fine. As long as it's doing well and succeeding, I don't give a fuck. Which it is. Let me see.
Oh, there was. Rex, did you know that people compared Sasuke and Sakura's relationship to Gajo and Levi's because Gajo crucified her and destroyed and killed him compared to Oh, yeah, but he felt bad shortly after that. He did a lot of nicer things. Sasuke did it multiple times, and it was over the span of like way more years. Like the point of Gajo doing that and then kind of turning over was only a couple months, and they've been together pretty close for years. And theirs was like built up, where Sasuke and Sakura was like Sakura pawing at his dick, and then like after time 12,806, he's like okay, and then unfortunately got roped into it. I'm gonna be honest, Yuno's boring as fuck. I like he's cool. I think he's a fun character. I like his still calm nature, but the way he interacts with others is very fun. Again, I really liked his battle with Rill because like how excited and happy he was fighting. It was new to it. It was a new kind of thing to him because really we hadn't seen anything like that from Mina before, and him having this kind of like more happy personality we've only really seen while interacting with Asta. So I think it was I feel like as an orphan guy, because you look at the two of them, Asta was very outgoing. He really wanted to make these friends at the Black Bulls, whereas he's this, again, they're orphans. You have the orphan that really wants friends and the orphan that's kind of like isolated outside of his family. He's probably not interacted with a lot of people in his guild, and they didn't even really like him at the point. Claws didn't really care about him. There were still hostilities within the Golden Dawn, and it could be after this arc that maybe he starts like opening up with people. He becomes closer to them instead of it being like, I only need certain people as my friends. It's like, okay, maybe I can have some more. We could be cool. I think it's nice little jumps for him. That's what I like about it. Gajo and Levy just well they did. What do you mean? Gajo and Levy, if it's as far back as the Tartarus arc, because if you look at the Tartarus arc, in the chapter that Agio comes into Fiore, or not, yeah, he's already in Fiore. When they come into Magnolia, you see Levy in bed and Gajo in bed in different panels, but they have the same bedspread. Like their blankets are the exact same. And they're not going to be staying in a hotel because, for one, Gajo could, but Levy lives in, they all live at Fairy Hills, so it'd be like, a coincidence they have the same blanket? No. They've been fucking. And as she's pregnant, they're going to have their twins eventually. Well, I guess, not really eventually. Eventually in the story. Black Clover sales have increased by an extra 1 million in thought. Yeah, they have. They've done better. It's still high up there. They did like upper 1 million to 2 million last year. A lot of their success though has been in the anime. The anime itself has been like, I think it's like the 4th highest grossing. So like for their studio. So clearly that's really good. It's still making success, and that's what they care about. And it's only going up. There's no. The thing about Black Clover is it's still the knowledge of it and like the fandoms are still spreading. It hasn't like leveled out, which is a really good sign for it. So it'll keep increasing, it'll keep going up. Because you look at a lot of long going series, they'll have like a peak level, a big high, and then they'll have a steady level of where the fans are. And that's where Fairy Tail's at right now. They just have a good steady fan base that as long as it keeps along this road, they're fine. Versus like when you're still on that climb, and that's where Black Clover is still at. My Hero Academia is still on that too. They're both like just going up. They definitely have the largest kind of like influence of new series. Just the two of them. It's nice. I like it. I like that they're having that friendly rivalry. Oh, the Dragon Sword from Mighty Morphin. Oh, what was it? Warrior mode where you had the big lance. That's the joke. My favorite Megazord is the Titan Megazord. I still really like Grave Sword. It's so fucking cool. How long till TF's Power Ranger happens since Hasbro bought them? Probably eventually. It'd be kind of weird for them not to already have that planned or in mind. Like, I feel like when you have the two series, especially because they've had Transformers, like, forever, and then it's like, you have all these guys who, the idea men, and they're like, man, what are we going to do with our largest title and this other huge title that both have giant robots? Oh, maybe we could have a crossover. Just give it time. Them isn't complete yet. I haven't seen Endeavor. Oh, Endeavor's cool. I like Endeavor. Endeavor isn't complete. Can't work. What's that? I'm reading people talking to other people now. Good, I can skim these. I don't have to read these as much.
Who is more savage, Asta or Yami? Yami's way more savage. He's perfectly fine killing people. He's like, enemy? Yeah, that's fine. Kill him. Asta would be like, if I have to, but if I can, not have to kill people, maybe we can put our differences aside. I can defeat them, but I feel like Asta would kill, because that's like the thing in Black Clover. It's kind of like, Naruto and Bleach, where killing isn't a huge deal because it's just like one of those part of the job things. Whereas like that's where I can kind of see with Black Clover like being a Magic Knight versus like My Hero Academia or something. Like you don't have to kill people, you just beat them up and put them in jail. Imagine there's a lot more killing in these other series though. Just like it's just the option. Fucking Yami though is just like, oh, he's an enemy. Yeah, 1 second, I don't give a fuck. That's pretty savage, but Yami's way more savage. Ready to change the creators of the world, to overcome adversity, to overcome diversity. Wild. Littlefoot or Yoshi, which is the closest to Queen's design. Littlefoot, he's a Brachiosaurus. Yoshi's a fucking dinosaur. Like, weird little Kappa dinosaur or some shit. He didn't even have like a weird little fucking chameleon tongue like Yoshi. I'd see people say Black Clover is the same level One Piece in terms of world building and story, right? I mean, not world building. I mean, they haven't done a whole lot of world building. I think the story is, I think it's a lot more interesting, personally. Obviously, a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but that's entirely opinion based. Obviously, One Piece has way better world building. They've gone all over the world. We've only really seen the Clover Kingdom so far. But I'm going to keep going. I like opening 4 more than Black Clover opening 3. I've heard that a few times, but like 4 was the one that like got a lot of people interested in the anime because like the opening was fucking so good. Like I actually saw and people say they checked it out purely because the fucking opening was so awesome, which makes sense. And then you get into the anime and then you get in the manga. Hopefully, Vegeta final explosion is best attack. No, Akinogi versus Jiren. Jiren would kill him. He's like a universal threat, dude. Aknologi's not that strong. Like, Aknologia, like, put to, like, high end is like, okay, he can completely wipe out life on a planet in one attack. Doesn't have to destroy the planet, he can just wipe out all the life. Maybe destroy, like, a moon. Obviously, that's not much for Dragon Ball. Aknologia versus... I already said this, Aknologia versus Endless. War Greymon can shove the Dramon killer down Aknologia's dragon throat. Don't do that to my boy. I agree. The potential future world building and writing Black Clover is great. Yeah, there's a lot laid out, which I think is cool. And the thing about One Piece, it's like it's cool that you see all these islands, but the islands don't have as much like connection. When you see like, especially like the neighboring kingdoms of the Clover Kingdom, it's gonna be just kind of cool because of the fact that they have to kind of like live in this constant state between each other. I don't know. I like the idea. I think it's very interesting that we could see happen. But for now we're fine. Akame got killed is dispersing thing, or depressing. Oh, depressing thing you'll ever read. I don't know about that. I liked it. I liked that Akame got killed. Just imagine Asta, Deku, and other characters from other series get animated by Noshida. I don't know those people, but I imagine they're pretty good. Well, of course, anime sucks in comparison to other stuff. The animation has been good lately. I heard they got a bigger animation staff. Opening more Magna and Leo character spotlight. That'd be cool. I want some Leo spotlight. He isn't going to do a whole lot. The Jared punch, at least the manga's better. Yeah, I love you, Sakura. Really? Yeah, it stabs her. You have somebody mind fuck you, like mind rip the shit out of you, and you're going to be like trying to bury him 5 minutes later. Come on, bitch. Haru versus Aknologia. Aknologia would kill Haru. Is what you get when Asta is your brother. I like them. They're fun. Black Clover is my favorite anime. Has my opinion. That's fine. It's always opinion based. Like Black Clover is not trash. It's not a ripoff of Naruto. I don't think it's a ripoff. I think they have a lot of interesting kind of like turns on it. I don't know why people would call it other than that, because otherwise, I think because then what is My Hero Academia? Like the things that you can say. Oh, this is why it's a ripoff of Naruto. You could say the same thing about My Hero Academia, but they aren't ripoffs. So, I mean, it's influenced by, sure, but ripoffs, no. That's ridiculous. Weakest Spriggan that can beat Meliodas? Let me think. I mean, maybe God Serena. I'd probably put my money on God Serena. Because I don't think Meliodas could... I don't think he could fodder anybody other than Nineheart, but he definitely can't clear. Favorite fight in Attack on Titan? Human versus Titan and Titan versus Titan. Anytime that Levi is on the same field as Zeke, and let me think. For Titan on Titan, I don't know. I'll just go with fucking round one Aaron versus Reiner. I thought that one was cool because it was like he was losing at the start, figured out the what to do, and then beat him. Now it's just like ass beating after ass beating. Oh, I caught up. I did it. I answered. Jesus. Irene is still a good mother compared to Ragu. Yeah, no one likes Ragu. She a weird ass bitch. She is a very strange chick. Let me check. I think it was at 1,299 subscribers last time I checked. Let me see if I hit 1,300. Can I do it? I was streaming for like 2 hours. Come on, give me 1,300. Do it. I did it. Hooray. We did it, folk. We're at 1,300 now. We're on the up and up. I'm going to keep going. We just gotta keep it up with the progress, and things will, keep going down the line. We gotta spread the news. I gotta bridge gaps between other channels eventually. I'm planning on doing a Black Clover stream with Sammy at some point and Kaiba Man, but I don't know what's up with that. Doesn't say hi his name. My name is Rax. I've never been Tax, not once in my life. Honestly, if you haven't seen the latest episode of Kobeni, I bet it's a national crime. I'm gonna binge watch them, I think, because I'm so far behind. I might watch them. I caught up yesterday with Doom Patrol. I kind of hope there's a second season. I liked it. That was good. Maybe I'll watch it. I want to watch. I need to watch fucking Karate Kid season 2. I still haven't done that. Vic's a great man. Yeah, Vic's cool. I like Vic too. I still believe Vic. There's seems so much bullshit on the other side. Who is that guy that the Kick Vic people were defending? Because his sister was like a big Kick Vicar, and her brother like got in some legal or some fucking troubles with the law, and they were defending him. And then his court case ended, and it's like, no, he's convicted of sharing child porn. That fuck. That just shows like the people that are on their side. No child porn shit ass over here. Super goofy. I like Nezuko too. When are we doing the Yu-Gi-Oh watch together? Well, fucking, we had 2 people that we were planning around, and they decided to leave the Discord for no fucking reason, so whenever it's available for you, because you're the only other person that's, like, time constricted right now. Eventually. Eventually. What did you like most about the Bumblebee movie? I liked seeing the switch between cars and Transformers. I thought that was cool. I like seeing all the moving parts. Very interesting. We can watch tomorrow. Tomorrow, Monday? Yeah. No chapter tomorrow either. Tomorrow will be my Jujutsu Kaisen review. Very looking forward to that. People need to get on that series. Like, it's so good. It's good action. The characters are very nicely toned. I love it. Well, it's one of my favorites right now. But anyway, I'm gonna end the stream. I made it. Wait, Mega Digimon is the strongest Digimon, and then Super Ultimates became. Wait, they made Super Ultimates? Is that a thing? What the fuck? I'm gonna look that up really quick. I have to look that up. That can't be a thing. They made a new official level? Is that real? Or, oh, it's a form. Okay. Okay. Yummy. Yeah, wait, no, is it? Oh my god, make me look this up. I just want to know. Anyway. Yeah. I'm gonna wrap up the stream. It was a good one this week, a little bit longer, 2.5 hours. Glad to chat, hang out with you guys, and see how things are going. Old Force Dream. That's a goddamn hard name to say. Anyway, that version of Hemon. Anyway, I actually made it to this one. Oh, good. If you Rhino would, we'll do an Attack on Titan stream. You can be in my next Attack on Titan video, maybe. Let's have a word of wisdom from old Spider. Other than that, though, good to chat with you guys. You should check out the Fruits Basket anime. It's top 10 for the season. I'll check it out. I'll take a little glance. I usually watch seasonal stuff. I wait until it's over and I binge watch it. Because one of the things that, like, I guess I can't really say it's like, oh, it bothers me. It kind of does. It's like when there's a seasonal thing, it's not like, oh, cool, this is fun. It's like, People want to act like it's the best thing ever, and it's like, no, let's just talk about it. We don't need to drool all over it. If it's your favorite, cool, but calm the fuck down. That's what I avoid that a lot of the time, just because like seasonal hype stuff. I like Kimetsu no Yaiba though. I think it's doing pretty fun. I like the manga. This chapter, that's hype as fuck. Yeah, it's good. I'm glad you guys came to the stream. Yeah, it's gonna be it for this one. If anyone hasn't yet, check out my channel. I did my Chainsaw Man review today. I loved it. I had fun of that chapter. Makima is spooky. And look forward to my Jujutsu Kaisen chapter review tomorrow. I might make a Black Clover video tomorrow. Maybe do my my prediction video for Fairy Tail maybe for the next chapter. We'll do something along those lines. Just a nice discussion kind of video about one of the two. And other than that, look forward to... Eden Zero this week, no Fairy Tail this week, Seven Deadly Sins. We'll get My Hero Academia back too this week, and Black Clover, which is good. No Black Clover. Other than that, though, I'll talk to you guys later. And let me see any of these last comments. Talk later on when you finish your work, since you won't sleep when you should. I'll never sleep. I'll never be the sleepy boy again. Just be a normal person. Just stay awake. Never sleep. Anyway, thanks everyone for showing up. Hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend and a good night. Bye.